Hello and welcome to episode 218 of the Random Nintendo Podcast. I'm Jason.
And I'm Angel.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is our final episode of the year, and you know what that means, right? It's award time. It's award season. So we're calling this episode Taking the Gold. We'll be sharing our personal picks for Game of the Year, plus diving deep into all the news, winners, and just the presentation as a whole of last week's Game Awards, which, now that I think about, isn't gold, actually, is it? It's like a gray. It's like a steely gray, the Game Award, the actual trophy.
Oh, yeah. But you're thinking what kind of medal it would deserve to get.
But that brings up the other reason we're calling it Taking the Gold, because we're going to have impressions of Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, where they actually get real medals of gold color. Plus, we're going to have our takes on the news out of Nintendo's Indie World presentation, a look at, or a discussion about Sony going multi-platform, which will be the show, which means a PlayStation game is coming to the Switch, which is strange to say out loud. And we're going to have our... Yeah, you're wearing a PlayStation story right now, in fact. It's like you knew, Kevin.
I didn't.
Synergy. And we're going to have the winners of our day and night giveaway at the end of the episode, so stay tuned for that. Plus, an announcement of one final giveaway for the year, so there'll also be that. But to make sure you don't, know what you... To make sure you know what you want to hear and find it, we have timestamps at Nintendo.com. We have timestamps on our disc if you're on YouTube. But let's start with the self-proclaimed and factually accurate biggest night in gaming, as it is called, the Game Awards. They took place a week ago, Thursday. I was there in person, as I do every year. You guys were watching on the stream. You guys arguably had the much better view because you were watching on a stream. And all three of us have now had like a week to kind of set in and think about it and whatnot, or not think about it, given how it went. But what did you guys think of the show? What were your takeaways?
Disappointingly forgettable.
Kevin?
Yeah, it was nowhere near as, I guess, great as Jeff Keighley definitely made it seem to be at the start of the show.
So what were the sticking points for you guys? Why do you say that?
I felt like there were too many game announcements, and there was just a lot of bringing in the developer after said game announcement, and just hearing their vision, and yeah, it's fine for if it was something for an award, I would appreciate that more, because most of these awards are for games I haven't even played. If I'm going to go into an award show, if I'm going to watch a video game award show, I already have to accept the fact that I haven't played every single game or every single nominee. So any chance I get to learn about them is fine. It's great. I mean, that's the whole point of an award show.
Right.
But maybe just, I don't know, after the 5th year, I'm just starting to get annoyed by all these game announcements, because most of these are very hit and miss. I mean, if you don't have the console, you don't care. If you do have the console and it's not a genre you like, then you don't care. Case in point, I don't know.
Well, some people don't care. Some people are into it regardless. Me. But I get your point, yes.
I said, not everyone's going to care.
Yeah.
The announcement of, Bravely Second 2 or whatever the hell game it is.
Yeah, which we'll dive into later, but yeah.
That one could either be whoa, that's awesome, it's coming, or they could be okay, that's not Smash.
That was pre-show as well, too.
No, that was the main show.
Was it during the main show?
The best part about that one, they went Xbox Series X, the first PS5 game, Godfall or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Godfall.
And then 2D RPG throwback on Switch. It was a weird... he's even what's Nintendo bringing to the table? Let's take a look. It's just I don't know if you want to compare those with the others. I get it's big for some eyes. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, Ken, what's your feeling? Do you kind of agree with him, or?
I don't agree with some of his points. Definitely some of it is on me. I'm expecting sort of E3,
Oh, you're the opposite of him.
Maybe Microsoft. Yeah, we'll say their media briefings, as they call them now.
Yeah,
I'm expecting game announcements on that level, and we definitely didn't get anything nearly on that level. We got 2 League of Legends games, which, if you love League of Legends, sure.
Yeah,
but then we got 2 Magic the Gathering announcements.
I feel like
there you go.
League
if you
of
care,
Legends,
great. If you don't,
I feel like League of Legends and Magic the Gathering had, even though technically it was fewer announcements, had more of a presence at this award show than Nintendo did. Even though Nintendo technically had more announcements. Just because they were spread out better. Nintendo was all front-loaded, kind of, and it was all, little small things, and then Bravely at the beginning, and that was it. They were quiet the next 2 hours. But, Magic and League were, perfectly paced throughout, where it kind of felt like it was always happening, and it was weird, because Nintendo dominated last year, and this year it was, somehow those two are bigger than the biggest game company.
Right, in recent years, I don't think anything is, and this might be my bias showing, but I don't think anything is going to top that Joker reveal. Like you were at the actual awards. You heard the reaction that
it was nuts.
That people got. The reaction, like when you look up YouTube, just Joker Smash reveal reaction, like just compilations of people going insane because Joker got announced.
And what was cool about that, in my opinion, is that like it was okay. Sure, it's an expansion of a game that's coming out that day. It's not really like the reveals. It's like there's a lot of times where it's like, oh, look at this new gameplay idea. It's developers kind of nudging each other, like, check out what I did. Like, look at this cool new thing you didn't think of. Isn't that neat? But like Joker was such a like cross game industry event that it felt like even if you weren't like the biggest Nintendo fan or if you didn't care about Persona, just like, whoa, that's totally out of left field. Like, just as someone that follows the industry or is in the industry, I feel like you'd appreciate like the crazy of that. And you're right, that's hard to top.
That's a surprise character if I ever saw one.
If I'm not mistaken, that was like one of the last announcements.
It was in the back third or so, but it was definitely not the last. But they also did the whole interrupting the show bit, which Apex Legends did again this time, but not as well.
Oh, and that took forever.
That was
yeah, you know what's the thing about that
who like loves Apex,
it was like trying way too hard.
Well, so you know what's unfortunate about that one, to be honest, is
you really have to know who they are too, because like my brother-in-law came in as that was happening. He's like, "Who's this guy? Like, what game is he from?"
Mirage, duh.
Yeah, and then like I was trying to explain like how the game worked. Like, he's just like, "So why are they doing this?" Or like, "Oh, just winter clothing." It's like all this time talking about just the winter clothing.
But yeah, I think that's something honestly the industry needs to work on in general with the Game Awards. Is like
know your clout.
Not so much know your clout, but like when you're showcasing a game with new gameplay ideas, that feels like a good fit. Like I was saying before, you know, if you nudge someone and be like, look at what I did. Isn't that cool, fellow developer? Like, can't you appreciate that on some level? Or like when you do something crazy like Joker and Smash, that works because it's so crazy. And like even like the Xbox, which we'll get to in a bit, but even that is kind of like, it felt very much like a commercial inside the show, but it's kind of like, hey, look at this game-changing thing that's happening in the industry. We're showing you first. But like the stuff like Apex Legends, the stuff like the Fortnite conversation, I don't know what that was. It just felt too much like pure commercials, but they were on stage when they could have been commercials. And it's just kind of unfortunate because like there are cool ideas behind them. Like the Apex thing, it was a little cringy. It did go on too long. It was literally promoting an in-game free event that's like...
Well, yeah, it was just promoting an event. That's
but
happening.
It wasn't even like a thing. But what was crazy, and no one knows because they didn't demonstrate it well, that conversation, the tech involved, was actually super cool. That was happening in real time. The voice actor was in a studio across LA Live in a mocap suit doing real-time puppetry of the character, and everything he was saying was facially animated on the fly in real time to what Jeff was saying.
Well, yeah, they're not going to tell you that on the stage, obviously. They're not going to tell you during the awards.
But I'm saying, like, they did all this really cool wizardry for that. It's just like that wasn't worth that.
In retrospect, that makes sense why that went on forever.
Yeah,
but
they didn't.
That still doesn't excuse the fact that was pretty weak.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm saying like, they should have they could have announced like a whole new mode in Apex or a map or.
And it's just a limited time event. Like I said, I love Apex Legends, but
yeah, it was just. And what's crazy about that is like I can't believe they didn't do this. At the end, cut to the dude in the mocap suit in the other room, like, you know, kind of as they cut to commercial or whatever. They do this all the time with awards shows where they do stuff like that, like show how the magic happens, so to speak. No one knew. There's a Hollywood Reporter article that actually details the tech. I'll link to it on the blog post or episode. But like, no one knew it was that cool of a technology thing. And like Jeff Keighley tweeted out the second it ended, I'm just like, why would you not just have a camera in that room at some point and at the very end just show it?
We're gonna go over the winners, I assume, right?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
But the other thing I was gonna say is kind of like Apex. The other one that bothered me a little was Fortnite. Like, I understand they had technical glitches. I'm not like dragging them down for that. But like, again, the idea of what they did with Star Wars that Saturday after the Game Awards with Fortnite is super cool, and actually really similar to what they did with Apex.
Not get to.
Yeah.
Which I did not get to.
3.1 million people did.
I completely
but
forgot about it.
You guys did not. I forgot to.
I mean, it makes sense. I'm not really a Star Wars fan.
How to work a music festival.
It's okay. Oh, was it Rolling?
It was Rolling Loud. Yeah.
So. But yeah, it was like it's a similar idea where they actually had J.J. Abrams, Jeff Keighley, and Ben Schwartz, randomly enough, in a room live voice acting these controlled characters by the developers, and they were doing stuff based on how the participants at the thing were voting.
Was he Sonic or something?
Well, no, he was playing a Stormtrooper, a new Stormtrooper character that's now canon in Star Wars.
That was Blue?
What? It was not Blue, sadly. Even his blue character streak has ended.
Corporate synergy can only take you so far.
Right? But no, like, again, it's a really cool tech.
Or was he his Parks and Recs character that somehow...
Yes, he was John Ralphio singing through a Stormtrooper helmet. Oh, that would have been amazing. But no, it's like really, again, really cool tech, and I understand why they're hyping it up. And it was like, ultimately all they did, all that event was like the video game version of a guest going on a talk show and showing a clip. But like, it's crazy to think that was happening live. They had people somewhere else. There are 3 million people participating, which, you know, is less than the Marshmallow concert that had 10 million, but still a good chunk of people for sure. And they all got to get lightsabers at a big duel. Like, it was really cool. But like, do you need to spend 3 minutes on the main stage of the Game Awards telling people to tune into a 20-minute thing 3 days later? That could have easily been a 30-second commercial in the same way that, like, the reveal of Joker as in Batman Joker was from Mortal Kombat 11, where it's like, hey, look who's back.
It brought back memories of Sony used to really have really bad segments in its E3 presentations where it'd be like, oh man, they have all this momentum, but then something, year after year, something would grind it to a halt. I remember it was Wonder Book one year.
Yeah, I remember
where Wonder Book went on for like 20 minutes.
And I get that, like, unlike with Sony, like Keeley and I think it was, what's his name, like Don Mustard? Is that the name of the dude that works on Fortnite? I feel like his name is a condiment.
Yeah,
they got a little thrown off because all the graphics were backwards and like not loading at the right time, so they were kind of ad-libbing it. Obviously, that slows you down, but like, still, I feel like I mean, like, Joker in Mortal Kombat 11 is kind of cool, but they were able to do that in a 20-second video. Why did a 20-minute event need so much more time on stage? I don't know.
Harley was also in that
Harley
trailer,
was
right?
also in that
trailer. But she's...
No, she was in the trailer.
No, that's just a scan for Kathy Cage.
Oh, I mean, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's literally how she looked. That's her personality.
Gotcha.
It's just
interesting
texture.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that Fortnite thing. I do want to say, you know, if you actually did it, I was watching some videos of it after the fact, you don't really know it was live. Like, if you're the end user playing, you didn't really get the benefit of it being live. Like, it's no better or worse than the Marshmallow concert.
Yeah, but
conceptually, it's super cool.
And you got, like, a glider from it. Like, an exclusive
glider like,
that I cannot get anymore.
No, I don't mean that. I mean the, like, having J.J. Abrams on a mic in real time responding to, like, whatever's happening on the screen. Like, considering he can't see all 3 million people, it didn't really make an impact. But conceptually, it's very cool. And definitely, like, they were talking about, like, the metaverse for Fortnite when they accepted the ongoing Game Award and how they want to make a metaverse in Fortnite, how it would eventually be everything. And that's interesting. I don't know if it's good or bad. I haven't decided yet, but it's interesting for sure.
Speaking of that, I'm a little actually disappointed that Fortnite this quickly into Chapter 2 decided to go the route that
Chapter 1 was.
That Chapter 1 ended on, where it was nothing but like promotion after promotion after promotion. Like, there was like 3 events going on at the same time. Like, I don't remember
the Infinity Gauntlet at one point, right?
Yeah, like, I was really hoping that Chapter 2 was just going to...
A clean slate.
Well, yeah, and it did start with a clean slate, but, like, this quickly into promotion, it was a little bit disappointing. And not only that, but the lightsabers in Fortnite, broken. If you hold, like, block, they will block anything.
Really?
And they take you down so quickly. It's so annoying. It's like you have to take one into the late game, or else you're going to lose. Because it's literally just a shield, and it has no cooldown period on it either.
I bet the one thing they can't block is the fan reaction to Rise of Skywalker. Am I right? I haven't seen it yet. I just know fans are all over the map.
Yeah, it's a 2 hours and 20 minutes I'm never getting back.
I'm seeing it tomorrow morning. By the time this goes up, I'm seeing it yesterday morning. So, yeah, we'll see. But, you know, we were talking about, like, the presentation stuff, which is a point kind of brought up. But, Angel, you brought up the idea of, like, awards needing more time to breathe, right? Like, just, like, it seems weird that was so reveal-heavy in your mind.
Well, yeah, I'm like, if you're going to do an award show, make an award show. Don't do E3 in November.
Yeah, I kind of feel a similar way. Like, I do wish there were more awards.
Because it's also starting to feel like, for him to go bigger or to make it more intense, he's going to have to get bigger announcements or more.
Get a console.
And then pretty much... And so,
let me just clarify.
So it feels like the award that is going to get pushed like back to the end. Like, I mean...
It already happened.
And it already feels like that. Like, a lot of the awards, like, they just get handed either off screen. We're just like, oh, they also got an award for this, this, and this, and that. Or they won't even really say, like... Or he'll just, like... It almost sounds exhausting how many awards he has to say.
It felt like he was speedrunning it. Like, most of the awards
like just getting them out of the way.
Yeah,
when they should be something, like...
Celebrated.
Special, yeah.
Yeah, because they were all on that little side stage of his. And he was definitely just like, oh, this game won this game won that, this game won that. By the way, 30-second teaser, prologue. What's prologue? I don't know. Ask the PUBG guys. Here's it for us.
I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy, but I feel like if he wants, like, video games to, I guess, get more respect and appreciation, then these awards should also be treated with more respect and appreciation than they're definitely getting.
I think some of it
it's like one of the few times you can actually credit or give awards to these things that, like, many people never even heard of. Like, I mean, you would never see a character animation award except for maybe here. I know you definitely get one at GDC and at SIGGRAPH and at other stuff. Because, I mean, that's where they would appreciate it. And you'd think here in the Video Game Awards we get to recognize some of those things. But nope, it's just Game of the Year. That's all we care about.
Some of it, I think, is because the people weren't there to be... Like, a lot of award shows do that sort of thing. Like, for example, Best Performance was off on the side stage and they didn't give a speech. I guarantee if Mads Mikkelsen was there for Death Stranding in the audience, they would have for sure done a proper...
Give it to Kojima. Like, the amount of love that Kojima has for, like, all his actors. Just have Kojima accept the award.
Yeah, like how Doug Bowser did for Smash winning Best Fighting Game.
Just to clarify something, when I meant, like, I want this to be a little bit, like, more E3 heavy. Like, more... Mm-hmm. Yes, I didn't mean, like, I want announcement after announcement after announcement. Quality, not quantity. I want the quality of a Microsoft briefing, of a Sony press conference.
Yeah, because I think something about these reveals...
Because I totally agree with this guy that... Yeah, so these awards just like getting the side stage. Like I was furious when Persona 5 won RPG of the Year and it didn't get the stage. Like really? Persona 5, this game that is up for Game of the Year, you're just gonna give it one award that's gonna
some of these games need the recognition. So like like people on the Switch and stuff like they haven't played Persona 5. They didn't know about Joker.
Right.
I mean...
Yeah, no, I agree. I think... I mean, I do understand why the reveals are part of the show. Obviously, like, they will attract a lot of viewers. They essentially pay the bills. But I completely agree that there should be more of a focus on it. And
you have to sacrifice some of that money, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it... And again, I agree the ratio is off.
Does he know exactly what he wants? Is this what he always wanted?
I think at some point...
I think it's possible to make both work.
It is and it isn't. The way I look at it is, like, think about something like the Grammys. Just in concept, not in ratio here. In concept, when you watch the Grammys, all the awards are for music of the past year, obviously. Like all the game awards.
People announcing their upcoming albums and teasing upcoming projects?
Yes. Not in those words, but yes, the music equivalent of that is when they have a performer come out who maybe is nominated for stuff that year. Like, Nintendo is, but they announced something new. Sony is, but they announced something new. But they have those performers come out, and sometimes they play the old song, but more and more in the last... however many years, the Grammys have had them debut a new song live for the first time, or play their current radio hit, or do like the last time Kanye performed there, he did a song that came out like a month prior and never charted, just because like it was not nominated for anything. It had nothing to do with the awards. He wasn't even nominated that year, but they're like, oh, it's a big name. It can be a reveal of sort, the equivalent of a game reveal. So the Grammys do that a lot, and I think...
Well, to be fair, I mean, at least they're still listening to music and appreciating music.
And you're still seeing games and appreciating games. As opposed to
watching, like, a long trailer for Harley's movie.
Well, that was a commercial. Let's be fair. They cut the lights in the... That was a commercial.
It didn't feel like it was a commercial.
So you can't tell on the stream as well as in person, but there are times when they cut to commercial.
No, sometimes it was obvious, but that time I guess
that one, like Keely Jane introduced it.
I thought that was part of the show.
Yeah,
too.
I was like, why is this like being shown?
It wasn't. They made an original bit at the beginning, but that was all pre-tape. And in the theater, they cut the lights as if it was not on stage.
Well, it seemed very intentional.
Like they raised the house lights for a few minutes.
The thing was really awkward too, with like Margot Robbie interacting with like two streamers or something.
It was super awkward. But yeah, so I think my point though is like I think any award show there needs to be that commercial foundation that allows for the award portion. I think Keely and Co just got a little carried away,
getting rid of getting a bunch of awards out of the way during that time.
Yeah, which is what sucks. I think they got carried away with the reveals because like Keely was doing an interview with I think it was Variety after the show. And he pointed out that like his own team's research and feedback that they've collected points to people tuning in because of the reveals, like not exclusively but heavily.
I know.
So there's that weird balance. Like he was saying,
I can name a bunch of people that literally watched this solely for a potential Smash Bros. Announcement.
Right, and I think it's just finding that balance, and he admits that they're trying to find that balance. But I think some years it skews a little. It seems like every year it skews more and more towards the reveals, and I don't know what data he's using, but it's a little disappointing.
But man, the reveals this year were weak.
Yeah,
they ended with that terrible looking Fast and Furious.
Now, to be fair to that game, it's being developed by the Project Cars team, so it's possible it'll be okay because Project Cars is actually decent. That doesn't necessarily mean it well. I'm just saying like it looks worse than it is. I think it's definitely it's definitely a game from the beginning of this year.
But that's also like no, that looks like a mid. And sorry to the developers of Project Cars.
You think it's mid last gen?
It looks mid last gen.
I agree they shouldn't have ended with that. I think it's interesting that you actually mentioned that because in the same article he also talks about the balance of like finding like outside industry folk with those in the industry. Like, in other words, the gaming celebrities versus the general pop culture icons. And I think, like, in his mind, for some reason, Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez were like, oh my god, this is so cool. But, like, the gamers, like, whatever. Like,
I think I told you guys this, but, like, I feel what happened there was somebody saw the Keanu reveal at the Microsoft, and they're like,
Jeff saw
who can we bring that will get this rise out of gamers? And they just
absolutely
picked, and they're like, oh, we got a Fast and Furious game, why not just get Vin Diesel? And no,
because some of them make sense. Like, some of them I kind of like for esport player of the year, they always get a huge sports figure from some other sport to come and present it, which is kind of like, greatness acknowledging greatness, at least in theory. Like, they had Michael Phelps one year, they had Steph Curry this year. Like, it's cool to see them be like, oh yeah, these are in a different field, we consider them an equal. At least that's the idea they're trying to present, right? Or like having Jonathan Nolan, like, ideally someone that crafted narration in a game would have been cool, but they aren't really people anyone knows. So if you're gonna have to make like a presenter that's like something that people are like, oh, it's that guy. Like, you can't be like, hey, it's except maybe the Last of Us director and maybe Corey, what's his name, that did God of War. I can't think of very many people who you could be like, here's a guy that's going to do narration and have it. Like, Miyamoto can't do narration.
I guess they could pair them up. They could have... I mean, that's... Because, because we can't have... It's not fair to put the responsibility on the Game Awards to make us aware of the names of all the important writers and creators and developers. I mean, Nintendo's been doing a better job of that lately.
Even then, not the writers.
I know. Yeah.
Name a single Treehouse writer.
Well,
I can tell you Treehouse marketing people because they're out in the public.
No, I mean in general. Yeah. Like, I mean, we're getting to know directors at least.
Yeah.
But...
And, like, some of that works, but, like, for narration, I thought Jonathan Nolan was actually kind of interesting because, like, Westworld is very heavily inspired by tech and sci-fi and video games and that sort of thing. So it's kind of like, all right.
But they could do too.
You can draw... Yeah, they could pair him with someone from the game world. And selfishly, I just liked he was there because Dark Knight's my favorite movie. And it was like, oh, last year we got Hans Zimmer. This year we got Jonathan Nolan. At this rate, who co-wrote Dark Knight with Christopher Nolan. At this rate, like, if I just keep going for 3 or 4 more years, I will see the entire suite of everyone that wasn't on screen in the Dark Knight, and I'll be very happy. But but in all seriousness, like, yeah, they could have paired him with someone. I think you're right that the Vin Diesel thing was just them trying to do a Keanu moment. To Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel's credit, though, like that whole weird banter they did about the games they play and where she mispronounced Tekken. That was legit. That wasn't them on a script.
No, I believe it.
Like, I looked at the prompter behind me and it was just sitting there static on. So we're excited to present our game, and they just went for like a good couple minutes, and I was like, all right. At least they like understand what they're doing there and like want to try and connect on some level. So I'll give them credit for that a little. But like, yeah, it'd be cool if video game folks had the bigger slots. If a video game person did Game of the Year, it makes a lot more sense. Like when Jeff Keighley was teasing a special guest for Game of the Year, my mind at one point was like, all right, it's going to be someone like Miyamoto, or it's going to be someone like, someone that's like really a legend, or like will write, or like someone that's really a legend in the industry is going to show up and be like, hey, especially because they didn't do Game Industry Icon this year, so that would be a way to sort of get someone of that stature to show up anyway. But I guess the closest is Reggie, actually. Like, I thought Reggie's speech, I don't know what you guys thought Reggie's speech, but I thought it was one of the best parts of the night. Like, he came out in like a funny kind of self-aware way, which, by the way, Jeff Keighley did. That was not planned. Jeff Keighley off camera was freaking out when Reggie did that because he was like, oh my god, like they kind of like just like, oh, you're doing the thing, which was really funny because he was like totally caught guard by it. But then Reggie did that really nice speech about how every developer starts as an indie, and it really just kind of encapsulated so much of what I think Keighley wants the Game Awards to be and what they sort of strive to be when they're not stuck in commercials. Like, respecting developers, inspiring one another, this kind of wonderful kumbaya, like we're all in this together vibe about like how the industry is like this great thing that we're all part of, that sort of thing. And he did all that. He talked about video games are bigger than movies, bigger than like they're the biggest entertainment thing in the world. And then, 20 minutes later, here comes Vin Diesel, who's supposedly the big finale because apparently movies are still bigger than games, contrary to the stats that Reggie just shared with us before.
Didn't you listen to what Vince said? A 4-minute trailer to Fast 9?
I heard.
Whew.
You know what they're doing for Fast 9? Not only a 4-minute trailer, they're going to have a concert in Miami to debut the trailer. And they're flying the press into a concert in Miami.
I saw that.
But, I would like more stuff like Reggie is what I'm saying. Like,
well, I feel like at this point you're going to get that because people compare the Game Awards to the Golden Globes.
Yeah, if you want the Oscars, it's probably more the GDC.
I think BAFTAs do interactive category, but then also I think it's the IAT. So that
Interactive Academy of Arts and Sciences.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Like I feel like if you want sort of, this is definitely more clout based.
Yes.
Here with the public, those award shows are where you're going to get the true sort of.
That's more what Angel's looking for.
Yeah, that and I totally agree because like G4 used to have an award show
and Spike.
Yeah.
So this is just
who produced.
So this is just a classier version of what he used to do at Spike.
I would say it's. I would say
Madden won Game of the Year once.
Well, the ones at Spike were the video game awards.
Yes, and at
which
G4,
was
Keighley's, but that was at Spike's discretion of how it was set up. Like the celebrity host and everything, and then he produced the G4 one as well. He started on G4, G4, yeah. So he's been slowly whittling away at trying, but I think it goes back to his balance point he was making. There is a balance to find something that can get people to tune in, because the GDC ones exist, the Interactive Arts and Sciences, that one exists, but there's a live stream of it, but it's maybe 20,000 people, which you don't, if you're not in it for the ratings, if you're not in it to try and make gaming's biggest night. And a thing where you're celebrating the entire concept of video games and every facet of it, then sure, you don't need that. But he's trying to do some sort of holistic.
Then maybe he should just cut down on the number of awards. Maybe he should just have literally just Game of the Year and that's it. Then he could just spend the rest of his time making his announcements and just build up that Game of the Year.
Well, I think he still wants to honor some stuff. Well, and to be fair, I'm not saying it should only be in my opinion, it should only be real gamer people.
How many awards were given out on stage?
6.
Right, it was
they should up it.
Yeah, it was
direction. It was
Game of the Year.
It was
narrative.
Yes,
right,
and was it even 6? It was ongoing game,
sound design,
multiplayer game, which Tetris 99 lost.
Multiplayer game? Are
Wasn't
you sure
that multiplayer up there
on stage or on the side stage?
It might have been the side stage. I just remember when Tetris stage. Lost, I was no, and I went to.
No, if it was on the main stage, it would have gotten some celebrity card reader,
not necessarily. They were and to be fair, you know what? To be fair, before we start,
the Goose Game one.
Hey, okay, before we start bashing that, that's what. Well, that's what I was about.
Oh my god, just get to the.
That's what I was about to bring up. I think there is something to be said that if they have fun with the presenters in a unique way that ties directly into games, sure. They got House, the developers of Untitled Goose Game, to make a fake version of Untitled Beaker Game, and they had them directly involved in it. It was a collaborative thing. That
I like that skit.
I like that a lot, and I'm not just saying that because I got to breathe the same air as Beaker and Dr. Bunsen I do, or as close as you can breathe air with a Muppet. But that was super. To me, that was fun, and it kind of was it was playful about games, but it wasn't using games tropes or stereotypes. It's no different in my mind than when you're watching the Emmys or Golden Globes, and out of nowhere they're look, we got Robert, well, he's not legendary, some really legendary actor to come out of nowhere and announce something there's nothing to do with it. One time I think they had Barack Obama announce an award at the show, and it was just whoa, that's a weird get, but it kind of worked. And I feel the Muppet one worked for me. It went a little long, but I really enjoyed it. And if they do stuff like that where they tie in something, they have the developers involved, I think, to use the internet's favorite word, it's very wholesome and it's fun and it felt natural enough to me. But that's just me.
I agree. But
yeah. But there's one thing I know we disagree on though. The music. I seem to remember you not in the moment not being super into the music. Am I wrong?
In what regard?
Just the performances.
I like Church's. They started off the show, right?
Yes, with the Death Stranding
song. With the Death Stranding song. That's the issue that I have.
Right. Well, but I mean that's no different than last year when they had the Red Dead performance, or the year before where they had. Nope, that was the same year where they had the Smash Bros. Performance.
But wasn't that wrapped up in the end section?
They did a separate Smash Bros. Performance. Granted, Smash Bros. Wasn't up for an award that year, but Red Dead had its own performance.
I think it's just because that whole issue that
with Keighley's bias.
Keighley,
so Keighley, to be fair to Keighley, now obviously if people who are listening to us for a while haven't figured out, I'm a big fan of what he's trying to do here. I really like his attitude about gaming in general and whatnot. But
you don't get it. He really likes.
I wouldn't go that far, but I do. I am a fan of his, and to be fair, he did not get to pick nominees, and he did not get to vote on winners. He is not part of any committee that decides that. It's an 80 journalist committee outside of him and his production team that
he's never met. No, he even knows where they work or their credentials.
But it's everywhere from IGN to
anonymous.
It's IGN to Variety to it's all the main publications and the game specific ones. It's some blogs. it's a huge spectrum. That doesn't mean they can't, put their thumb on the scale, but to be fair, it seems like they are distancing themselves.
And I totally believe him, but at the same time, if I were Keighley, I wouldn't have Death Stranding anywhere near those categories. It'd be, I mean, if you want to call it unfair, sure, but like I am in this game. This is my award show.
Yeah. I think that is almost the downside of him being so tied to the existence of the award show. Like, it is his award show, or even that. No, but like he could be tied to Kojima, whatever. The same. He's also really good friends with Reggie, and is constantly talking about their friendship. But like, it's not the same as the BFF Kojima situation. But like, yeah, I think if he was like, our team makes the game awards, and he's just one of the faces, and they have a few of them, that would have
they had multiple hosts or something.
But yeah, I thought so maybe I misinterpreted what you thought of the performances, but I actually like what they're doing with the music these days. Like, they have the orchestra for some more traditional game music, but then like in the same way, the Oscars will bring out performers to perform songs from movies that have something to do with that year. The Game Awards have mainstream major artists that directly relate to games in some way, it didn't used to be that way. I remember Ray Shremmen did Black Beetle with the Mannequin Challenge or whatever it was called at the time, and all they did was, what if we do the Mannequin Challenge inside a fake arcade? And that was apparently the tie-in that made it relevant to the Game Awards. Not really, but like this year, Churches did a really cool, well choreographed performance for Death Stranding. It had rain and stuff. Grimes had that very interesting performance where it was all cyberpunked out and did not end with her leaving in a cyber truck, which was disappointing. But that one was super. I don't know, what do you guys have on the stream? So half of it was her live, and then what? It was just all the pre-tapes, digital stuff.
It was all the digital stuff. It was a lot of the digital stuff. Here's
what's weird. Same for us. The screen came down in mid-performance. It went to digital, and then it just ended, and she was nowhere to... Like, she didn't come out and bow. She didn't do it. She didn't, pop out from the side and be like, thank you.
It ended, and then we got, an awkward shot of Elon Musk not knowing whether he should clap for his own girlfriend that just performed in front of,
Well, he wasn't sure if he should stand up, because no one else was. And then he got, what's-her-name, from Sony, formerly from Sony. Or not from Sony. What developer did she work at? The super charming Japanese lady? The super bubbly one.
Oh, Tango Gameworks.
Yeah. He got her to stand up with him, kind of. But that was weird because it just ended and she was just gone. Like half that performance, she clearly was not performing. She was already off stage, ganging a Cybertruck and leaving or whatever. But that one was kind of interesting. And honestly, I didn't even mind Green Day. I kind of like high school. Just oh my god, that was Green Day. That was cool. But that was probably the least connected, but it was still very connected because they announced on the spot that those exact songs and some others are in Beat Saber now, in the same way that, if this was a decade ago, it would have been like, hey, Rock Band Green Day edition's coming out tonight, which is a thing that it was released. So
that also didn't do well. That was one of the reasons that
it was.
The whole...
Remember when Paul McCartney of the Beatles was saying that Rock Band's going to be the future of how people listen and consume music in the New York Times? That's a real thing when the Beatles Rock Band was coming out. In the press tour.
That game was expensive.
It was. But yeah, the Green Day thing, I don't know if the stream and the video captured it, but when they switched to the Beat Saber stuff for their new song, their poppier one.
You barely saw it.
Yeah, no, it was cool in the theater because those beams of light, apparently, that's the first time they've used that high-powered and that type of light, of that, thickness of beam. And it was perfectly synced up with the screen to do the Beat Sabering with the blocks. And in the theater, it looked really cool because you could actually see the sabers fly around. But then I went back and watched it online a little, and I was like, wow, those are not all visible.
You could barely see it in the back. I was lost. I was like, what's the game announcement here? And then Keighley said it. It was like, oh yeah, they're coming to Beat Saber. I was like, oh yeah. At what point in the stream do you see Beat Saber? But if you pay just enough attention, you can see some of it. Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, no, in the theater it was clear as day.
So, oh, well, yeah, sure.
But which is weird because, they're not making this for the 2/3 to 3/4 full theater that we were in. They're making it for and this is the real the real number of viewers, the 43 million people that watched the stream. So you would think they would make it a little more visible on the stream.
No, 43 did not see it from start to...
No, it's viewers, not full views. 43 million eyeballs at one point tuned in.
Okay, for a split second.
Or however long. I don't know what the metric they use is. Or what even Nielsen ratings are the same. When you hear the Oscar numbers, which are about 28 million for comparison last year, they're not saying for 3.5 hours 28 million people watched every second of this.
Well, the Oscars also don't get streamed, do they?
No. But for that one, they use a specific metric of an X number of minutes or whatever. So I assume it's something similar. But anyway, we talked a lot about the show itself, but there were also the awards, which I know I feel like you asked before you want to touch on. So yeah, I mean the awards before we even like touch on announcements or reveals or specific games that anyone showed. Like, what do you guys think of this year's winners? Happy, unhappy? Do you think stuff got what it deserved or didn't get what it deserved?
You're gonna have to refresh my mind.
Sure. So on the
I can't say I know what people. I mean, for Game of the Year, I think I only played Smash Brothers,
Resident Evil.
Oh, and Resident Evil. Oh, that was one of them. Yeah. So those two. The other, I mean, I've heard.
I will say Seiko, or how do you pronounce it?
I've heard great things about Sekiro. I've heard great things about.
Did I just say Seiko?
I mean, I've heard great things about all of them. So it's like, yeah, like if any of them won, I would have been like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Sekiro
I would have been surprised.
Though.
Yes,
that came out of nowhere.
I mean, yeah, I thought Death Stranding was going to win just because of
the
show
connection.
That one caught me by surprise. I honestly, I would have been weirder if Smash Brothers won.
I didn't think Smash.
It's like I love that game, but like, yeah, you're not gonna win. Like,
I mean, theoretically, if you think about what a game of the year is, Smash is kind of up there. It encompasses. It's been ongoing all year. It encompasses so much of so many parts of gaming. Like, you're thinking about a game that represents the year in a way, but that's not the same.
You could justify for all of them, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, to refresh your guys' memory and those listening at home.
I mean, Resident Evil won something, so it's all good.
Did it? What did it win?
What did it win?
Didn't you tell me that it won something?
No.
Oh, so did it win anything? Because I'm pretty sure I asked in the chat, like, oh, I'm just waiting for a Resident Evil's game, or Resident Evil's win, and then, or maybe it was Smash Brothers.
It was Smash Brothers.
You're waiting for Smash Brothers.
What else did it win?
Best fighting game.
Oh,
only best fighting game in the pre-show, and Doug Bowser got up and gave a decent announcement. Nice.
Wow.
I think the only thing that won 2 awards.
Not even sound design.
Was, never mind. Death Stranding won like 2 or 3 awards.
Death Stranding won direction, sound design, and music.
Okay, so 3.
And music, that debate about music, you could say, goes back to the whole debate with the Oscars of like original score versus soundtrack, where they split it, but I'm sure at one point they did. It's kind of like Death Stranding. I think it was awarded for that soundtrack it had, because that was a lot of big name artists that did a lot of unique stuff for it and had good. Like the Church's song is nice. Like, there's good music on it, but I don't know if it was rewarded for the score versus the soundtrack. I think they might need to split that in the future. But to remind you guys, on the Nintendo side, here's which games for Switch actually won awards by the end of the night. Smash won Best Fighting Game. Fire Emblem Three Houses won both Best Strategy Game and the newly invented Player's Voice fan-voted category, which was only made because people complained that Fire Emblem and Star Wars, the new Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, did not get nominated when they should have, so they made this award to kind of appease them.
Wait, what? How did it not get when it should have?
People were saying these games are good. Why did they not get more attention? They deserve more attention. So Kyu said, "Okay, I hear you.
Well,
We're going to make a player choice award."
Fallen Order kind of made sense.
Yeah,
because it was late in the game. Fire Emblem didn't get nominated. Get over it.
Yeah, but apparently there's enough of an outcry that he's like, "Well, why don't we do?"
No, but yeah, it's very cool that they did that.
Yeah,
so.
and then Greece won the Game for Impact award, which is what Reggie presented. Crash Team Racing won Best Racing Sports Game. I did not expect that. Fortnite Best Ongoing Game.
What was it competing against?
Sports.
Racing. Oh, racing slash sports.
Yeah, racing slash sports.
Oh, I thought you meant specifically like racing sports.
No. Yeah.
Oh, like okay.
It was Crash versus.
I mean,
nothing.
I think there was a Garfield racing game that came out.
Garfield.
Yeah.
Garfield Kart.
And you guys, you can't forget the most important category, the family game category, which was the Nintendo category, where it was 5 nominees, all first-party Switch games. It was Mario Maker 2 versus Smash Bros. Ultimate versus Yoshi's Woolly World versus Luigi's Mansion 3 versus Ring Fit Adventure, and the award went to Luigi's Mansion 3.
So, who wins that award? Like, is it which game is the most family friendly? Which game is the best to play with a family of 5 just to leave with your kids?
That's a good question.
Like, oh, this is the most aggressively E-rated E for everyone game.
I think it means a game that's...
It's like, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Like,
do you feel that Luigi's Mansion does not embody what family is in your mind?
I think it was the least deserving of that award based on what I define as a family game.
Because do you think it was as a quality game? Let's say it was the Nintendo category and there's 5 Nintendo games. Which of those 5 do you think?
Oh, if it was just best Nintendo game?
Sure, because that's what the award boiled down to, really. Of those 5,
man.
Maker, Smash. Well, you're gonna say Smash, so let's take Smash out of the equation because that's its own. Maker, Woolly World, Mansion, Ring Fit.
Probably Mansion.
Interesting.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that Smash is going to win Best Fighting Game anyways.
No, yeah, but I mean, if it's just best Nintendo game,
but
I guess I'll give it
less on board with. So what do you think should be a family game? Like a game that's inclusive and fun and apparently multiplayer?
Because, I mean, it does have a multiplayer, but I feel like it's definitely not what you come for that game.
I do think they're trying to fix that though.
But I mean,
like as
a family game, I feel like Smash does a better job of that.
Right.
What else was there? Mario
Ring
Maker.
Fit.
Mario Maker also has it has that whole 4-player segment.
Yeah.
It's very kid friendly too. I feel like that also works better.
I do think you made the comment about how you don't go Luigi's Mansion for multiplayer. I think you're right, but I feel like we owe not the game an apology, but when it first came out, we gave our impressions and we were like, yeah, multiplayer, why even bother? And then we tried it, and it's actually kind of fun. Like we did Scare Park in like a multiplayer thing with like over like the Thanksgiving week, right?
Well, yeah, because we have the means to get like 8 people together.
Yeah, but when you have the people and the means, it's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, it's fun, but I'd still rather play Smash Brothers. I
think that word is supposed to embody like I can play with my 5-year-old sister.
That's probably it.
I'm not going to play
cross-generational.
That's exactly what I was missing. Like a bunch of different people, different ages, different skill gaps, just playing together, and it won't matter.
Yeah.
Like get something like Mario Party. That's perfect. Like even I feel Smash isn't that great for that.
No, it's not.
Like you creamed me in Smash already. Like now imagine me aged down by 20 years.
Yeah, and how sad you'll
feel. Because like honestly, like unless they're specifically talking about like, and the award for best family game goes to that Life Ring mini game in Luigi's Mansion. That's the most like family friendly game on there because the other ones are way too complicated.
Now to be fair, they could move in that direction. They announced new DLC.
It's just a weird award.
Yeah, but the Luigi's Mansion, I'm actually really curious where they go with the multiplayer for Luigi's Mansion because they
anywhere.
Well, they're going somewhere. They announced a 2-pack. So for $10, you can get
RIP2.
For $10, you can get a 2-set piece of Luigi's Mansion. Pack 1 will be out before the end of April 2020, and will include 3 new mini games in Scare Park and 3 new Scare Scraper floors with matching costumes.
Games, that's all good.
Right, with matching costumes for Luigi. Then end of July, you get 3 more Scare Park mini games and 3 more new floors and matching costumes for Luigi in Scream Scraper. And at some point, if you buy this, I guess right now, you get a flashlight that has Polterpup's face on it, which you can use in single player or multiplayer, which is apparently a selling point. I don't know. But the costumes they've shown so far for Luigi, the costumes they're showing for Luigi make me realize that the only place this is going to be interesting, I think, is Scream Park, because for Scare Scraper, they're reusing existing themes from single player. So like there's Luigi as a knight, and it's all like the kind of Camelot themed, and then there's Luigi in an Egyptian tomb, and he's dressed like a mummy now. And then there's the best one, which is Luigi full on Disco Stew looking with a big hairdo and a open chest with a chain. Great. It's amazing. But that's obviously based on the existing Dance Club 1 that's in the game. So those are a little lazy, but considering you're not showing Scream Park, I'm hoping that means maybe we'll get some cool mini games out of it. I don't know. But yeah, it seems like, I don't know. I feel like if I were the Luigi's Man, like I almost feel like an I almost said Octopath Traveler, Octo expansion style update for Luigi's Mansion would make more sense than what they're doing.
What, like one
like
big one?
Yeah, like a big one that adds a whole new mansion or something. And then in that, they can add some multiplayer stuff. I feel like this is like...
Do you think they were better off just holding off until they could have one big one and just put all the reveals together?
No. I'm saying like instead of just doing like drip feeds of new mini games and new floors, I feel like they should have done a bigger update that has a single player component that introduces a whole new thing instead of just like these little piecemeal.
Well, I mean, they're definitely doing it. Yeah, I mean...
Like a whole new single player component.
They're just not ready to do that, I guess.
Yeah, so maybe that's coming down the pipe. And it's only $10 for all this, which, you know, you're getting 6 new mini games. How many mini games are there currently?
2, 3.
So you're getting a lot more.
3.
So that's not too bad.
One of them is not worth playing. The other one is okay.
Well, hopefully these 6 will
From
be
the current one, yeah. There's like one that's really good, one is okay, and the other one is like white.
And one's just garbage.
Yeah. But like considering they're waiting till April and July to put these out, hopefully they're actually putting some time into it. I don't know. But yeah. So that's the best family category. Real quick, while we mentioned Ring Fit, just throwing it out there for anyone who's interested. Nintendo's doing a mall tour of Ring Fit. Like you can go to, they usually do a mall tour of all their games for the holidays, like all their big sellers. This year it's just Ring Fit, which is interesting. I wonder if like they've seen the demand in Japan where it's so bad and so hard to come by and there's so many shortages that they issue a public apology. And I wonder if they're like, we can do that here. We just need more people to understand Ring Fit. Because along with Luigi's Mansion, the other thing that collectively around Thanksgiving week we were all playing was we were getting a lot of people into Ring Fit. And anecdotally, I know at least one person who has a Switch and Ring Fit now, another person who already has Switch but bought Ring Fit because we were all playing it, and they're probably both listening to this at some point. But yeah, like it has that power, and I'm kind of curious to see if Nintendo's going to get a boost from making a mall tour dedicated just to it.
I think they're trying to get a hold of those people that are New Year, New Me.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, New Year's resolution to exercise and be healthy, and like, hey, we got this exercise game.
Yeah, in a fun way.
Yeah.
I literally heard you say that already. Next year, new me.
New Year, you heard me say that? That was our episode title this year, 2019.
Oh,
the first one of the year was New Year, New Me, but MII.
What's the new Jason going to be like?
I don't know. See how I changed from January to now, and there's your answer.
Cool.
But anyway, we're kind of getting sidetracked. We got into news, so I guess that brings us to the next part, which is the announcements of the Game Awards, the actual reveals, the actual stuff. Because we've been talking about the ups and downs of the show's format and how the announcements were kind of bleh, but like we didn't really talk about any of the announcements. And like, to be fair, I don't know how much we can blame.
I was gonna say what announcements.
Well, yeah, but like, to be fair, I don't know how much we can blame like Jeff Keighley for the announcements being like what announcements, because he kept saying before the show, like in all the pre-stuff where he does like the Periscope streams, like, hey, we're like, we get what developers give us, and it's gonna be a great year, but it's it's kind of in their hands what we have to show. And I kept thinking, like, why do you keep saying that? And then I know at the beginning of the show there's something that jumped out to you, Angel.
Well, he said, I think we're gonna have a great show.
And
no, he said like
I hope you
we've been like preparing this all year, and I think we're gonna make it worth it. Instead of it's going to be worth it.
Which on one hand,
it's like, even if it's a lie, it's like, you don't say that. Because that already gave me the precedent that, like, oh, he's not sure if this is going to be any good.
And I think
he's not confident.
On some level, we probably should have seen the writing on the wall, because this year is absolutely a transition year for the industry as far as like going from current generation to next generation. I mean, look at why E3 was kind of ho-hum in terms of announcements. Like, Sony didn't even show up. Or like, if you look at like, and watch me slip in a very brief Jason Sales Corner, if you look at November MPD charts, just bear with me here for a sec. Software sales, year over year, down 14%. Hardware sales, year over year, down 24%. And that's with Call of Duty having a huge number 1 debut. That's with Jedi Fallen Order landing at number 2 and doing well. That's with the Switch still being the number 1 selling system and being up year over year. That's with Pokemon having the single biggest U.S. launch in series history in terms of revenue.
The biggest industry is just going down every year?
No, the industry goes up and down. My point is, even with these few flashes of greatness happening on the chart, no one's buying PS4s or Xboxes anymore because we're at the end of the cycle. The next one's coming. So why necessarily would you spend all this time and effort promoting something this year when you can save it to be part of your big launch next year?
This year there won't be a Game Awards just to spare you.
But I think that's why it's like that. Oh, actually, fun fact about Pokemon before I go too far. This one I just thought was kind of weird. I said, as the series best performance. How'd I word it? The biggest U.S. launch in series history in terms of revenue. Which, when you hear it at first, like, oh, that's really cool, and then you're like, wait, this is the first time a Pokemon game's cost $60 outside of the spin-off of Pokemon Let's Go. So yeah, it is, but like, it's kind of cheating to get that. But one kind of interesting thing, it was number 3, number 4, and number 5 on the sales chart. Here's what gets interesting. Number 3 was Pokemon Sword. Number 5 was Pokemon Shield. Number 4 was the Dual Pack.
What the hell, man?
Meaning, more people prefer to pay double the price than to be stuck with Shield and Shield alone. And I feel like that's a personal affront to me because I was all about buying Shield.
Yeah, that's the one that I bought.
But
well, makes you feel any better, that's the one Elvis wanted, but he bought Sword by mistake.
Oh.
Yeah.
The designs were hard to tell apart in terms of the Pokemon. Like, one does have a shield, one has a sword, but they're the most generic designs they've done for legendaries that don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the legendary
like, one has one in his mouth and one doesn't. And
that's they have a very similar face and body.
But if you combine those numbers, 3, 4, 5, it would have actually been the number 2 game on the chart right behind Call of Duty. But because of the split.
So how would...
Man, Call of Duty's just
so I'm guessing the day that, like... I mean, I'm guessing the versions always do well, like, relative to each other, or has there ever been...
I've never seen the double pack perform better
than well, I mean, ignoring the double pack, but has there ever been...
Isn't this the first time that there's a double pack?
No, they've done it for the last couple. Sword and Shield, or Sun and Moon had it.
Yeah, I want to say Gold and Silver also.
No, they did not.
Really?
Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but the original...
No, that's like Heart Gold and Soul.
No, they started doing it in the DS days, I want to say.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Heart Gold
I think
and Soul
they did, but the original Gold Silver.
But, I mean, has there ever been, like, a version, like, say, Gold sold, like, amazing, as well as a Pokemon game does, but then Silver sold, like, it didn't even chart.
There's always a discrepancy, but it's at most a couple places apart, not, like, one.
Because I'm wondering if that would have to happen for them to go, you know what, just no versions.
No, the Verge, dude, double pack the dual pack proves these versions still work. People are willing to pay $100 $100 or $110.
No, you're right.
Like, there's no reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, well, I mean, if there were no versions, then you would get all the same people. But they're literally buying the game twice. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're buying it in larger quantities than
they're
the
buying
people
the
that just
wrong
bought
one.
Shield. Yeah, but yeah. So I got a little carried away with the numbers there. My point though was that when you're in one of these transition years, of course there's not going to be as much on the news front. Like, companies are saying their projects for next gen, for the hype cycle next year. You know, stuff like Goodfall being teased as a PS5 game during the Game Awards is probably the exception, not the rule. And I think that's why, at least for me, an announcement like the Xbox Series X that kicked off the show was very interesting. I would say, like, in terms of big Game Award surprises, it's higher than most game reveals, conceptually. Lower than Joker and Smash because of the sheer randomness of that one. But, like, seeing an entire new console revealed on stage was definitely a surprise. And the way that Keighley sort of slyly introduced it, and the way they did the trailer where it started seeming like a game trailer, then suddenly the genres are all kind of mixing and matching, and then there was Master Chief. It was a very good, like, slow build into, oh, this is a box, not a game. I mean, what did you guys make of it? What did you think?
I think it should have been saved for last, honestly.
It was kind of a early, like, I could tell they were doing it partly to be like, hey, this is gonna be a crazy show, you should keep watching, except then it wasn't.
No, yeah.
So. I mean, what's your take on it? Do you think it made sense there? Do you think it was a good fit? Do you think the box itself is cool? Angel?
No, and I guess. I mean, I guess and no, but
yeah.
I think the design's really cool.
I like the design a lot.
But all that was
a box.
Literally a box. Yeah. There's nothing new. We didn't get anything new from this announcement. All we got was the design.
I thought the Project Scorpio trailer was more interesting than
I will say,
talking about all the teraflops that they were putting in this thing.
I am kind of split on the review, on like whether or not I actually liked the reveal. Like I was saying, conceptually, I think it's a great idea and a smart kind of different approach for Microsoft. Because, like, why host a press conference and do all this build up of marketing to get a few million people to tune in when you can just genuinely surprise an audience, again, like I was saying before, of 43 million people? Like, that's an easy no-brainer for Microsoft. They basically hijacked someone else's crowd, and then everyone going to be at least a little curious about the new console. And they were able to kind of capture that interest on some level.
Honestly, the next reveal after that.
Godfall?
No. Senua's Saga.
Oh.
Hellblade 2.
Yeah, Hellblade 2.
That one caught me off guard more than the
box.
Than the box.
And it paired well with it, too, because it was like, look what this box can do. So that was kind of probably the closest to the Project Scarlet reveal that you were referencing, Angel, where they actually demonstrated how it worked. I'm kind of, in my mind, viewing them as one cohesive thing they did. It was interestingly cool to be... mechanism. Yes. What? No. It was interestingly cool to... This is going to sound dumb. I'm just going to say it. Like, I was at the Microsoft Theater for Microsoft's conference, and they were like, here's Project Scarlet. And then I was at the Microsoft Theater for the box being revealed, and I feel like I now am just destined to somehow be at the first playable event. I don't know how. There's no reason I should be. They're just going to come to my house with a controller. They're going to come to my house with a controller.
For this to become an Xbox podcast.
No, not at all. I'm not even saying... I like the design. I don't know what it is with designs lately.
It would be perfect for... It makes sense for you to branch off into Microsoft. I mean, we...
You know, I did in college consider an Xbox 360.
We did become the Sony Nintendo household, and you should become the Microsoft
I'm not going to jump
Green and red go well together. You get Christmas. Which, you're Jewish, so
meaningless. No, but
so get blue, I guess. But then that's Sony. Just get all three.
Yeah, just get all three. No,
just celebrate gaming in general. Get Stadia. Get every possible way to play a game.
I'm good.
Can we talk about that Stadia ad real quick?
Yes.
Oh, so many Stadia ads.
There were only two, but they were like 5 minutes each.
I don't know. They came out a lot on commercials.
I like Reggie Watts. I just want to say that up front. I don't like that commercial, but Reggie Watts is cool, dude.
Man, those...
It was so cringe. It was
so bad.
Google wanting to make memes. You can't, as a corporation, want to make memes. That doesn't work. It has to happen, and you can't force it. And they tried.
I mean,
they tried.
They're definitely trying with Stadia, and none of it's working.
Yeah, it's really interesting how it's like completely like everyone, like Sony and Microsoft really thought they were a threat when it first announced. Like there are stories of them like going developers like, guys, we have cloud stuff. Don't worry about it.
It's only gonna work,
and then it just like.
It's only ever going to work once the consoles like just straight up do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the PlayStation already does that.
Well, like that's it. Like once they're like going to exclusively do that, but
I think honestly,
I mean, at least the way the consoles are going, I mean, it does feel like
it's a matter of when.
Yeah, like we're slowly like
unshackled from Nintendo Reggie actually said on the red carpet of the Game Awards to someone, Hollywood Reporter made, that like the next big thing in gaming is going to be streaming, and when the technology gets there, it's going to take over. Not, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he's like, that's it. That's the future of gaming. He would never have said that under Nintendo. He'd always do his wishy-washy, like, yeah, we're always looking at new technology and exploring possibilities, and, we're going to do things the Nintendo way. But now that he's outside...
Do we know what Reggie's doing?
Yes, he has 2 companies. One is a consulting firm, and one is some sort of... something involving education, I think. One is named... has a generic name, like Mountain Point Consulting, and the other is, like, literally, like, Reggie Fils-Aimé Co. Ltd. or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, but he... and he is a... visiting professor or resident or whatever it's called at Cornell, and he will be involved with the New York Game Awards in February, where they're giving him it's a thing that exists, and they're giving him some sort of like icon award because he's from there, and he actually, as a fundraiser, I believe, for some sort of game dev program for kids, he will be doing a meet and greet for $70 a pop. You get to hang out with him and get a selfie and stuff, and then it all goes to charity. So he's keeping busy. The fact I know this all off the top of my head, I don't know how or why.
I'm sure you do.
I don't. I actually have no idea where I got this information. I can't even remember where I read it.
Oh my gosh.
I just know. I just absorb it like a sponge. But yes, that's kind of. I think that's. Yes, that's the Xbox. But obviously there's the Nintendo. Oh, one thing about Xbox we didn't talk about. What do you guys think of the name? Xbox Series X, which is not the name of the console. It's the name of that specific box. The console, the next gen Xbox is. Are you ready?
Xbox.
That's it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what they've been doing.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, the internet seems to think it's, like, there's, like, a whole brouhaha about online. Like, oh, that's going to be, like, the Wii U days. Oh, that's going to be so confusing. You're going to be like, I want an Xbox. Which Xbox? Xbox Series X? Xbox Series, Xbox One X? Like, which? But, I don't know. It feels very Apple to me. The same way that iPads are just iPads. And then they have the Year or the Series, like, Pro versus Air versus Mini. Like, how is this any different?
Wasn't there an iPad that was just called the new iPad?
Yes, and then there was a newer one called the new iPad, which was confusing. But those, like, if people are trained by Apple and how they do it and how a lot of phone makers do it, is it really that far of a stretch to think that people can't understand? You can get the Xbox, and then there's the Series X. There's probably going to be a Series S, which I imagine is a slimmer one that has no disk drive. Probably a Game Pass-friendly one. I would assume they're going to keep... What's interesting, actually, is I don't think they're even going to phase out the current Xbox, because they're saying the new controller with the share button is backwards. It looks very similar to D-pad's different, but it's backwards compatible.
But weren't they modular anyway?
On the Elite.
Oh, that's right.
But so they took the Elite one and made it standard. But they're saying that's backwards compatible with Xbox One, meaning they're probably gonna keep selling the One, and then the Series X, and then the Series S, and it's just gonna be a whole. They're literally Appling the Xbox.
Well, it's fine. It makes it easier for them going forward. So.
And everything's gonna be cloud eventually. So,
yeah.
But the one thing that I think I started saying something we got a sidetrack, but I really like the design. I like this trend. I don't know what someone from The Verge, Dearbone, I think, described it as like brutalist 20s, where everything has this kind of very functional form, like the Cybertruck in this, or just like these angles that are just like, all right, yeah, this is a truck. It's gonna look like here's sheets of metal on it. We're done. Here's the Xbox. It's just a PC tower, but it looks glossy and pretty.
Well, I think what like everybody's loving about it is that how just different it looks, just because it's meant to be vertical, not horizontal.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just like it's very
just striking.
It has a very 2001 monolithic look.
Because the last one that we got like that was the Xbox 360, and that's been forever since we had that.
I never really liked the 360 design. I didn't like that it was concave like that. I thought it made it one. It's hard to put somewhere because it's like this weird shape. But I don't know. It never really. The One X.
This doesn't look huge like all their other firsts.
Yeah, that's true. I think I do appreciate that. I think my lineage of consoles are square things because like I like the GameCube a lot, and then the Wii was kind of like a rectangular GameCube, and then the One X or the Series X is like, see, I'm screwing it up. Series X is like 3 or 2 GameCubes stacked on each other basically, but with a much sleeker Wii-like disc drive and stuff. So I don't know. Anyway, those are the other things. There's also, of course, Nintendo's announcements, and we were talking about the naming of the Series X, and another game had a fun name, Bravely Default 2, which is not the second.
Which is the third entry in the Bravely
Default
series.
There is a second entry called Bravely Second.
Which is a sequel to Bravely Default.
And yet this is Bravely Default 2, which is not a sequel. It's from the same team, but here's where it gets confusing. It's a new world with new characters, a new story, and basically no connections to the original, except the people in the background. The developers are the same. the music company, a company called Revo, is doing all the music again. This is the people that made Bravely Default, but it's ignoring the sequel that was made by other people.
Yeah, so it's like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The sequel,
essentially.
Yeah, the sequel didn't really have anything to do with the first one much.
And then Chronicles X kind of went back.
Yeah, Chronicles X was its own. Chronicles X was also just a spin-off, so they did the naming.
I would say
more.
this, yeah, but Square Enix just is horrible at names. Like, I don't know why I'm surprised, but yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I mean, the Final Fantasy series. I mean, I guess
they're pretty consistent. They know how to count, except with Kingdom Hearts.
Well, yeah, I mean,
13,
well, I mean,
32. Returns,
you
13.
could also say it's a bad thing that they're actually naming them. I mean, numbering them because they're not chronological, like the Tales series. They're not Tales 1 through whatever. It's just Tales of whatever. That's just how they differentiate them. And then Final Fantasy got themselves to that point where, like, wait, we want to make sequels to some of these, but we don't want that to be Final Fantasy 11. We want 10-2. And that's how you get 10-2.
And I guess this is the best way to do it because, like I was saying, Second's by a whole different dev team. Like, when Second was being made, the team that made Bravely Default, Team Asano, went on to do Octopath Traveler. So this is kind of their way of, I guess, signaling that this is actually the true sequel from the original people. But it kind of ignores the fact that the other one's the sequel in terms of story and
it's getting Arkham Origins.
People seem to really enjoy it, so
yeah, and it's a big. It's like, I mean, how do you guys feel about the reveal? Because it is a bit. You're right, people enjoy it. It's a big franchise for Nintendo.
I've never played Bravely.
Same. But
I was just like, oh, that's cool, and that's it.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, Bravely Default, the original, sold 1 million on DS.
Cool for people that like the series. I was I was just like skip.
Yeah, because and there are a lot of them. Like I was starting to say, Bravely Default sold 1 million on the DS, over 1 million. Octopath Traveler, same dev team, 1.5 million on Switch. So I see why Nintendo brought it up here. But I don't know about following up the Series X and Godfall with this. Like, it seems Nintendo's whole presence this year seemed like. It just lacked a little something.
Yeah, it shows what retro's up to.
Well, everybody. It lacked in every department.
But the difference with Nintendo, theoretically, is they don't have to wait for... Well, actually, I think they do. But you could argue Nintendo's at the peak with the Switch right now. They could just go fire with full cylinders. But I think they're holding a lot close to their chest for when the next gen hits, so they have something to counter with. Like, they're not sure Breath of the Wild 2 because they need that to counter PS5. They're not going to show Metroid Prime 4 because they need that to counter Xbox. Just Xbox. There's no number there. Just Xbox. But yeah, I don't know. It was weird though, because they followed the same formula, the same blueprint they've been using for the last few years. Like Bravely Default 2, it fills the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 void, in which they teamed up with a third party for a surprising new sequel. That kind of double whammy of the new No More Heroes 3 trailer and the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 DLC, I think was supposed to be the update on a game that Smash was last year with Joker. Obviously not the same scale, but kind of same idea. And even last year, they had a surprise indie game for Switch during the pre-show in the form this year of Maneater being confirmed. Last year it was Sayonara Wild Hearts. So they kind of hit the marks. They checked the boxes, but I don't know. It didn't have the same pull. It was. I really do think it's probably because they didn't have to.
I think it's just a reflection of just how weak this year was.
Yeah, and that there wasn't much they need to do. But, I mean, let's talk about what was shown, right? No More Heroes 3. That had a trailer. I know you have thoughts on that.
I thought that was a bad trailer.
I think it was pointless, but I enjoyed it in its pointlessness. I liked the fake out right down to letting, the fake game name linger longer. Game name. It's not like I didn't say that. Linger long enough that there's various developer logos and everything, and then, Travis Touchdown just breaks through it right then and there. And the extended version, I don't know if you've watched the extended version that's online, but it's a full 5-minute little anime segment, and then they do the cut at the end. And I'm kind of curious, does that anime segment tie back into the main story of No More Heroes? Is it a weird one-off? The bummer is nothing in it actually told us about the game. We knew it was coming in 2020. We knew it was on Switch. There's no gameplay shown, so I'm kind of hoping that the TV show, that anime, is part of the plot, or those characters do become relevant. But right now, it does just feel like it's just.
I mean, unless you decide to read more into it, I mean, I guess Travis Touchdown does say something we're doing galactic rankings now. So I was like, okay, so maybe the enemies aren't just limited to Earth.
Yeah, but even then, it's is that telling us anything? I mean,
well, that they're just gonna get. I guess just to expect to get.
Just the scale
is just gonna get nuts.
Yeah, which I guess.
But I mean,
counts.
No More Heroes already had their fake out trailer last year, this year, whenever it was first announced.
They faked it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they had like you were following some other protagonist, made you think it was going to be some other kind of game, and then bam, it's No More Heroes 3.
What if every trailer?
So
is that?
I feel like if they hadn't already done one of those, it's just like, oh, it was No More Heroes. Okay,
right.
I thought we were gonna get faked out for something new, not like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the little segment, like the anime. Like if for people listening, if you haven't watched the full thing, we'll link to it in the blog post. But it's fun. I liked it. It kind of riffs on some tropes. But I think the bigger whiff for me than No More Heroes 3, probably the Marvel Alliance 3 DLC. I mean, I get it. Like, Marvel's huge, so you want to highlight it. And it is cool that there's a whole X-Men pack coming. It has Phoenix, Gambit, Iceman, Cable. Has a new Versus multiplayer mode, which, okay, it's a game that's all been, co-op up to this point, so it's cool.
They could have announced a new Marvel vs. Capcom that's not Infinite.
See, like, that could... Even if it was a port, that I feel like would have been bigger news. Because, like, the thing about, like... that trailer they showed for Marvel, and I don't know how you guys felt, but for me, compared to some of the other trailers that night where there was like a story to it or something that like there's more to it than like that felt like something I could just go to YouTube and hit play, while some of the others felt like they're more like reveals, and this was just like, hey, there's DLC and you can download in December. Just like, all right, you know what I mean? Like even Joker when that was DLC, but that one had like there's something that I don't know. This one
that had the backing of Nintendo.
So is this. They published this.
Yeah, but there's no Nintendo characters in this game.
Oh, sure. But I
like.
Oh, you mean like that have more oomph?
Yeah, I'm saying like they just. I'm not saying like they didn't even do like a story. Like there wasn't
it's
even
DLC.
like look, it's the X-Men.
It's DLC.
No, I know, but I'm saying like they didn't even do like, oh look, surprise, the X-Men are popping up in the battle. They're just like new DLC. Here's one character. Here's another character. Like it was just very like narrator driven when everything else.
I could have sworn they announced it. It was like 3 characters and then a story to go along with them. And
the DLC is cool. I'm saying the way they cut the trailer did not feel like something that should be there because everything there like the trailer had a bit of a story.
Well, that was in the pre-show, right?
It was.
Yeah.
But no.
I'm just saying it was because I didn't watch the pre-show. I saw the trailer after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, how you would describe it, you just click play, and I mean,
yeah, which it felt like someone just hit play. Like that was the opening.
I thought
trailer
the stuff announced
for
like X-Men fans, that seems like pretty exciting.
No, don't get me wrong. The DLC, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's cool DLC.
But I guess they could have
Nintendo botched the delivery.
They could have just made it less.
Like if they did hear me out here. What if they switched No More Heroes and Marvel and had Ultimate Alliance 3 have the kind of narrative-driven trailer to reveal characters that No More Heroes had, and then No More Heroes had a sizzle reel of how the gameplay works? I feel like that would have been more effective for them, or would come off better. Obviously, the Marvel one's effective enough because like it tells you what you need to know. But I don't know, it just felt a little weird to me. Maybe that's just me. I seem to be alone on this one. But weirdly enough, the Switch game.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought it was.
I don't know, it was
It
fine.
was just DLC.
I just thought like if you're gonna do a reveal in front of that many people, like I don't know, have a little fun with it. But the Switch, I think the Switch game I was most interested in coming out of the awards, I don't know about you guys, but for me was that shark game, Maneater, which funny enough is the reveal that Nintendo had no hand in. But I just like the premise. Like you're the shark, you eat people. That's kind of about it. But it's presented as cool, like has like a 1980s Miami vibe.
That's definitely been done before, but not to this crazy extent,
and not as well. I know there have been Jaws games, but they haven't ever.
Oh, I don't know if there were Jaws games.
I could have sworn that another shark game got announced.
This is that one. It's just now coming to Switch.
Was this one?
Back at E3, right?
Yeah,
it was this one.
Okay.
So what's kind of interesting about it, so I started reading up on it because it looks like just kind of this crazy arcade game, right? And I like in my head had this joke of, oh, I bet the genre is bite 'em up because it's like this is arcadey fun thing, haha. But then I started reading about it, and it looks like he's in physical pain.
I swear to God.
But I started reading about it. It's actually more than that. They're calling it an RPG, an action RPG. You can. The whole game is an open water, open world.
Yeah,
thing.
I heard it was like GTA. Somebody described like GTA with a shark.
Essentially,
everything
so like
GTA
you'll be able to eat people.
Can we hear about your GTA with bees game?
Oh yeah, Bee Simulator. Impressions coming soon on a future episode.
Oh boy.
But yeah, it's like with this one as a shark, you can eat people limb by limb, and they can upgrade specific parts of your shark. So you can have different body parts that maybe help you swim faster or jump out of the water higher, or apparently there's a ferocity stat that will power feeding frenzies where you can actually just go crazy, and I imagine that's where it gets more arcadey. But I did not expect like custom shark attribute systems or anything. I thought it'd just be like,
the different powers
I thought
are
it was
pretty
gonna be
neat.
What?
No, yeah, the different powers are pretty neat.
Yeah, I in my mind was just kind of like, oh, this is Crazy Taxi, but you're eating people instead of delivering them to places. Like that's how the trailer kind of made it seem.
Yeah, that's what
but it's like actually way more in depth, which like is kind of cool. I think I was sold on just the look and feel of it, but I'm actually really interested in seeing how this turns out. which will be a while because they said May 22nd on the trailer, but they then said Switches after that. So, so we shall see. But I don't know. What were there any other games in the awards that caught your eye at all, Nintendo or otherwise? Because it was kind of ho hum, but it's got to be like something. Maybe. I mean, you said Hellblade.
Yeah, Hellblade too.
Angel?
That's pretty much it.
Smash Brothers?
I'm shocked you didn't say The Wolf Among Us 2.
Oh, that was part of it?
That was.
Oh. I
thought you liked it.
I mean, I'm incredibly excited about that game, but I've seen this literal exact trailer before already.
Well, they had to reintroduce... Oh, really? Same cut?
It was... No, I mean, like, it was pretty much...
just the logo?
No, it was like exactly the same. I had like a person standing in front of the camera, like just going like, you know what, we're working on it, and then they show the logo.
Well, good news.
This was before the studio closed, and now it's like the same thing again. Like, yeah, like, oh, cool. Like, I finally get to play more of that game, which I like. But I don't know.
You thought there'd be more to it?
I think the most exciting thing about that
it was just like, I guess like show more. I don't know.
I think it's because they had to sort of reboot it. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, it was essentially a re-reveal. I think the most exciting news that came out of that was that they're making a brand new engine.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that is it took them going bankrupt.
I feel like if they had leaned more on that would have been way more exciting instead of just.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because like I'm excited about this game coming up, but the announcement didn't make me excited.
Sure.
It definitely could have been done better. Maybe to your point of how they could have done the Marvel one more.
Right? I think it's because everybody thought that game was dead.
And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think what's funny about it is, like, to your point about the new engine, so it took them going bankrupt, getting their name bought by another studio called LCG Studio, getting a new development studio called Ad Hoc, then rehiring the directors of the first game, the writer of the first game, the voice actors of the first game, the composer of the first game, and the former VP of engineering from Telltale. And only once they went through all that song and dance did someone go, wait, a new engine.
We're literally that studio again.
Yeah, it's so, yeah, they went through quite a lot to get to where they are now. But, for fans who want it, it's cool that they brought it back. And, yeah, to Kevin's point, I think they only did the logo because, one, it's very early on. And, two, they were basically like, hey, remember us? It was the little visor guy in Metro Other M going, remember me? Or whatever, but it was a whole game. Yeah. There is, like, of all the stuff shown at the game, were there any other games that caught your guys' eye? It was pretty ho-hum.
I mean, like, because, like, even that game, I completely forgot that was announced earlier. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
You know what game I think could have, or you know what announcement I think could have gotten some,
I was going to say just Smash Brothers because of the small, like, 2 seconds of footage where they had Bowser on screen right before he got, like, eaten by...
Were you happy to see Doug Bowser on your screen?
Right before he got snapped? I didn't even see that.
You didn't watch the pre-show at all? He
I didn't watch the pre-show at all.
So you're telling me your favorite game, Smash Bros., one of your favorite games, Smash Bros., got an award accepted by a guy whose name is Bowser, and you missed this perfect...
It got accepted on the pre-show. That's
I know,
like the issue
here. I agree.
Here.
No, but my point is, like, you somehow missed that cosmic moment, that moment from happening where everything came together, and your boy Bowser, but as a human.
Well, that's not the cosmic moment. The cosmic moment of anything would have been when Bowser and Bowser were...
Right. That was a great intro to it.
That's something that's something you don't miss as a Bowser fan.
That's true. But you know what I wish was revealed at the Game Awards?
I mean, with that logic, that means I can never not be looking at Bowser anytime he makes himself public. Because he could always...
This is true. But you know what I wish was revealed at the Game Awards, because I think this would have had kind of an oomph that was kind of missing on some level.
What, Jason?
I really wish that announcement from 2 nights prior or 3 nights prior that MLB The Show was going multi-platform popped up at the Game Awards.
I don't think that would have been a big deal.
It was trending on Twitter like the whole night because people were well, they would have had to show some footage. They would have had to show a teaser.
How's that game been doing? I feel like
it's
really
huge.
Heard...
No, it's huge.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the top 10 revenue generating games of the year. And not only that, but like think about like conceptually what it represents. What?
Where are these fans?
Well, it's the same as like, you know, NBA and Madden and FIFA, where it just sells.
Smash Brothers fans definitely don't shut up.
You also follow Smash Brothers fans, so you see it more. If you follow baseball gamers, you'd see it all over the place. But like,
where are you baseball gamers? I'm gonna follow you guys.
They're out there. Matt Piscatella from MPD, who I know you've talked to on Twitter before, he always is tweeting about MLB The Show like a couple times a month probably. But anyway, the reason I think it would have been a good fit is because if you think about it, it's a game that was PlayStation exclusive, literally developed by Sony, and now it's coming to other systems. And it's not confirmed.
Get baseball player for Smash Brothers?
Maybe, but it's not confirmed.
Generic baseball player.
Yeah, they couldn't even get that license to one guy.
Just a generic, just the NES baseball guy, but he has like an MLB patch.
If only his name was like some kind of neat sounding amalgamation of a bunch of really popular baseball players, but like Ken Griffey.
I was about to say Ken Griffey.
I mean, that's already
that's a whole name.
Fine, Ken,
that's a whole name.
Ken Piazza Sosa. I don't know.
Yeah,
works.
But no, the thing about that is like, so supposedly it's coming to Xbox and Switch,
or some baseball pun.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Nope. Just keep going.
Okay, but yeah, supposedly it's coming to Xbox and Switch. Neither company, no one's outright said
call him Batman.
Ooh, that works. Batman, and he kept a sidekick named Ballboy, because the Ballboy's.
All right.
Anyway, Nintendo and Microsoft have hinted as kind of their systems, is what I was trying to say. But I think like that seems like exactly what Keighley's like. Oh yeah, it's all about games coming together and being like, hey, this thing that was exclusive is now on all the systems. And if they did a CG trailer and it ended with just all the logos on it, and then like by Sony Studio San Diego or whatever it's called, that would, I think people would be like, wait, what? And that would, because just the concept of a PlayStation game being on every system.
But I think that would have been more of a like, wait, what? And not an exactly like, holy crap.
It's for the people that care. It was a big deal. Like for the baseball world, like apparently MLB brought a bunch of executives into San Diego that day for the announcement, and the announcement was a press release. Like it was. Yeah,
I feel like that was the only way that you can really go.
But I guess. But it is interesting how we got to this point, though, because like you would think MLB, like that should be on every system anyway. It's like what sport would not want all that money? But apparently, out of it, like the whole saga of how it got here is weird. So like back in like the mid 2000s. The MLB made a deal with Take-Two, which was a response to the NFL making an exclusive deal with EA. If you recall, there used to be other football games, and then Madden sort of locked it up. So Take-Two was like, well, if we can't do football, let's do MLB. And the deal stipulated that Take-Two could be the only company that makes third-party baseball, but all the console makers are welcome to make their own. So this basically kicked out EA's MVP series. So it was Take-Two's revenge for the football situation because they had 2K football. But the loophole meant that MLB The Show could happen. And I don't know if you guys remember, Nintendo almost released a baseball game on GameCube called Nintendo Pennant Chase or Pennant Baseball or something like that.
Definitely not.
That's a
Jason level fact.
So it was announced. It was at E3 in 2005.
I know you don't follow sports, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Oh, I don't know. It was announced.
I know you don't follow baseball games, but did you know?
Well, that's
obscure.
Yeah. It's so. This is what's weird about it, though. It was announced. It was shown at E3 the next month. It was fully playable. The game was finished. The developer finished it, turned in the final code. It was ready to go, and then Nintendo just canceled it at the very last second. It was already done.
And that became the show.
No, but
they create their own competition.
Like, no,
they don't have with Mario Baseball, I guess.
Well, it wouldn't be competition because one's a simulator. But no, I don't know what happened to it. But that was from that same period where it's like, oh, EA's MVP series is gone, and I don't think 2K Baseball is on GameCube. So Nintendo's like, well, we used to make sports on the N64. They had the whole N Sports line. They had Ken Griffey Baseball. They had other games on Kobe Bryant Basketball. Like they had all that. Kobe Bryant 2002 or whatever they called it on GameCube. So this, I think, was them getting back into it until whatever reason they decided not to. And then similarly, as MLB The Show rose up in quality, Take-Two decided to just completely sunset their baseball game. And then somehow, MLB The Show, a PlayStation exclusive, became the baseball game. And it, like, MLB kind of tried to fill it in, the Take-Two absence. Like, they have RBI Baseball, which is on Switch, but it never was, like, good. So MLB basically became the de facto, or the show I should say, became the de facto MLB baseball game. But it's weird because it's locked to one system, while every other sports game you would think they'd want to maximize revenue and put it everywhere. And now,
I honestly think that they were strong-armed by the MLB to like, hey, this game has to be on everything.
So I do wonder which way it went. This isn't the first time Sony's published something on Nintendo, actually. Technically, this is kind of an aside, but technically, the mothership Sony, not Sony Interactive, got their record label arm to publish a game on Switch that we talked about here on the show, like at start of year, Battle-Loon. Remember that one, the multiplayer balloon flashing game? That was actually a Sony game, so they already have it. But no, in terms of this, I do wonder, like, there are theories out there about, like, did MLB force Sony? Or
because they had to re-extend the license.
Yes.
And if I was the MLB, I'm like, all right, you guys are making this much money, spread that love out.
I don't think they had to force Sony. I think they went to Sony and said, like, you want to do this? And Sony simultaneously was looking at the market and going, like, yeah, we should do this. And here's why I think it. The current idea of what a platform is has changed from what it was. Look at what Xbox is doing. You know, they leave some games on their platform, but then they put some other games on others. The same way Nintendo puts their games on mobile and hope that becomes marketing and get people to come back to their consoles, and they create Nintendo accounts. The same way Xbox, you have Xbox Live in Minecraft, and now Minecraft finally, their dream is complete as of last week. You can play Minecraft crossplay on every single platform, including PlayStation 4, and that means everyone's making Xbox Live accounts. And then if you can, you know, make money that way, and hopefully once they have an Xbox Live account, they'll start dabbling in other things. Once they have a PSN account, which already exists on other platforms for movies, but, you know, why not do games too? Sure. Certain games, you can have that come back. What?
I did see I was playing Halo Reach the other day.
See? On PC, right?
Yeah.
That's why they went back to Steam, Microsoft, because they realized that at the end of the day, they're still making money. There are always going to be exclusives, but if you can get more people to already sort of opt into that world, it's much easier to convince them to buy something. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sony thought that and then turned and looked at NBA 2K and FIFA and Madden and all these games where they are full-on game-as-service games. Even MLB The Show is, but it's a limited audience. They have some sort of trade, like baseball card system in it called like Diamond Dynasty or something like that. And I really wouldn't be surprised if Sony's looking at all this, looking at the money, looking at MLB being kind of like, you want to go multi-platform? And them going like, this actually makes total sense for us because we can make a ton of money. We still have our exclusives that people will come back for. And, you know, we get PSN in more people's hands than ever before. That's my theory. Who knows?
My theory is that, hey, you want to keep making MLB The Show, you got to make it multi-platform. The end.
Because like technically they could have gone to Microsoft and Nintendo and be like, you guys want to make baseball games too? Like we'll help you. We'll take our RBI team and you can work with them and do something and you can spearhead the vision. Like they had ways around this. I think Sony. I mean, obviously we're just saying the same.
Well, let's move on. We're not a Sony podcast.
But I do think that it's significant to Nintendo because now it's on Switch. That's the whole point.
Well, we'll see what. Because those games are really, like, visually impressive.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's definitely going to be downscaled for Switch. And someone discovered a month before the game was announced that some developer was talking about a high-profile Sony game or baseball game for Nintendo Switch and how they were a developer on it, like, in their LinkedIn. And it was not the San Diego studio that does regular MLB, so they're probably going to farm it out to someone. Maybe it'll be someone good, maybe it won't, we'll see. But I do think this is the final sign that, like, and this is something I keep name dropping him today, I don't know why, but Matt Piscatella, the MPD analyst, was saying on Twitter the other week that the 2020s are going to be about ecosystems, not specific consoles. Like, a platform is not going to be a physical thing, it's going to be you playing certain games using certain accounts and wherever. And, you know, not every PlayStation game is going to be on every platform, just like, you know, Disney's not going to hand The Mandalorian to Netflix and be like, hey, we'll do some sort of, like, cross-promotion. Won't that make sense? Like, there's still going to be things that ultimately you want to keep on your platform to get people to go there, but there's going to be a lot of things that can earn money along the way in meaningful, non-stop game as service ways that they can probably leverage and start doing more of. Like, you know, what we're seeing with Mario Kart Tour, the beta for multiplayer just came out, and that's only for people that pay $5 a month. Will all those people go play Mario Kart on their Switch and buy a Switch? No. But hey, the ones that do, great, and the ones that don't, you're making $5 a month off them. I think that's what Sony's hoping for here. Now, if only EA understood that with Madden, because somehow Sony, with a PlayStation franchise, has beaten EA to getting their signature sports game on the Switch, which is very strange to say out loud. But
they tried with their other consoles. They tried in quotes.
They did quite well on Wii. Madden was huge on Wii. They did all sorts of motion control stuff. It sold 1 million copies on Wii alone. Like, it was big for a while, and then it just tapered off with the Wii, and EA just gave up completely.
Yeah.
And they never did on Wii U, and they never did on Switch. So that's where we are. But anyway, yeah, that was basically the Game Awards. And what wasn't in the Game Awards. I think, like, in some ways, the show's a victim of its own success. Like, we definitely, last year was so good and set the bar so high that it made it hard to live up to by comparison. I think, like, some things were done well. You know, we were talking about the performances were solid. The game-related talent bookings were good. The concept of the show, at least for me, is one I'm, like, very, very much into and really, really like. That's why I physically go every year. It was just kind of an off year, you know, due to industry trends, due to whatever. But I think, like, I'm really curious where it goes next. I think stuff like the Game Festival is really interesting, where Jeff Keighley, in tandem with the show, is doing a thing. This year is only on Steam, but he basically got a bunch of indie developers to make demos of their games. They're up for 48 or 72 hours on Steam. And it was kind of in tandem with the show where they mentioned in the show, not nearly as much as I thought they should have. They were just kind of like, oh, by the way, free demos. Okay, bye. But, you know, they did this whole thing where it's like you get to experience the games at home, too. And not everyone could go to Game Awards, not everyone could go to E3 or GDC or Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show, but this provides a way. It's kind of like the next logical step of when Xbox did E3 at home and Nintendo did their week of E3 at Best Buy and all that stuff. But next year, he says they're going to get it on every platform, so that's kind of interesting. And how that will tie back in. Like he says all the platform holders are kind of on board. They just need to iron out the kinks. And how that ties into the award show itself, and whether, like, something I think might be kind of interesting is demos of the award winners for people who haven't necessarily bought into those games yet, but are kind of curious what they're about. Like, maybe it's a very limited demo, but just something that kind of gets your appetite wet, and then you can go buy it at a discount once it wins or something like that.
Was Spider-Man this year?
No, that was last year. Oh. But yeah, I think there's a lot of cool, interesting stuff with Game Awards. It's just kind of a weird off year.
Was Resident Evil 3, was that announced?
It was announced on State of Play, which was the same day as Indie World, which is our next topic. Look at that.
Oh, I meant to do that on purpose.
You know what's funny is my transition I was going to do before you conveniently did that was, you know what else set the bar too high for itself and then led to disappointment? The Indie World presentation. Because, honestly, like, Nintendo this year, their indie presentations have been so good. Like, in March, when it was still an indie showcase, we got Cuphead and Cadence of Hyrule bookending a presentation. Then in August, the first Indie World, we got Ori and the Blind Forest in the presentation. The first time that Microsoft themselves had a game they own be on a Nintendo platform versus Cuphead, which was a weird licensing thing. So, like, obviously they can't constantly do first. Like, the first can only happen a first time. But I definitely felt like it was missing when it wasn't here this time. There wasn't anything on that scale. Which, maybe that scale was too big for an indie presentation. Maybe it should be about small stuff. Maybe Microsoft doesn't belong there. They don't. But, like, Cadence of Hyrule was cool. I feel like we just didn't have that this time. I don't know how you guys felt about the presentation.
Yeah, same.
As much as any other presentation, just kind of have it in the background, glance over every time a new game is up, and it's like, okay, cool.
I do.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool. Cool. I do think there's cool stuff, speaking of cool, in it.
I was hyping it up.
Yeah, thank you. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think closing with Axiom Verge 2 for fans of the first one, which is considered one of the best Metroidvanias, like, that's a big deal, especially because it's now starting on Nintendo platform instead of ending on Nintendo platform. I think last time Wii U and Switch were the final platforms it came to, so to have it start makes sense because it's so closely tied to, like, the Super Nintendo vibe.
The little anecdote the creator said in the beginning.
I also, yeah, that's actually not just him. I really like that they actually put faces to the developers' names. Like, they let each developer, some were a little, like, cheesy, some were kind of ridiculous. Like, the one with the food was kind of...
The food, yeah.
But, like, I appreciate that they actually let developers
it's like, even
shine.
if I never played Axiom, the first one, or intend to, like, just, like, hearing, like, him talk about it, and then also just kind of like, man, like, he did it by himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like...
He's super passionate.
He did it by himself with a son that has some serious disease.
Yeah, because I remember...
So he was juggling the two
I remember, like, after, like, him talking about it and just, like, being reminded of that. It's, like, for a moment, I go, like, oh, man, maybe I should just get this game just to support this guy because he's a pretty cool person, but...
Like, I think he went to college specifically for, like recently, just to, like, study music theory
for the
game. Like,
no, he's like, and not only that, but like,
devoted.
He has taught. His name's Tom Happ, by the way, for anyone that wants to know what we're talking about. But he has said before that he doesn't think he would have been able to afford his son's medical bills, and his son would not actually be alive if people didn't support the game as strongly as they did.
Wow.
Which is, if you think about it, one man guy spending all his time building the game while juggling his son's situation, and then, like, is rewarded so handsomely by fans that he has enough to now keep his son alive but in better condition than he's been, and be able to make a sequel and kind of live out his life.
Pretty crazy.
Really cool. So yeah, that was a nice closer, and I think, like, Sports Story was kind of a cool surprise by how
it
far
was a surprise.
I like how much how far they're taking it. Like, Golf Story was the indie version of the Mario Golf.
I was surprised that they definitely jumped to all sports instead of just like
just
one
tennis.
other.
Because, like, if Golf Story was the indie version of Mario Golf RPGs, theoretically,
but then they kind of showed, like, oh, I guess they're all kind of golf. Everything is kind of golf.
Yeah, but, like, theoretically, tennis should have been what's next. Because, you know, if they're doing Mario Golf, then they do Mario Tennis. But yeah, they went all in, and there was, like, baseball and soccer and basketball and frisbee and golf and tennis. And yeah, I get what you're saying.
And they combined some of these sports in once too.
I get what you're saying, that a lot of the gameplay is still the same, sort of aiming the club, but it's just a different ball at the end of the stick. Yeah. But I still, it's like,
it makes sense. I mean, it does make the sequel feel a lot bigger.
It makes it feel,
it probably is.
Yeah,
but yeah.
It makes it feel very ambitious when it didn't have to be that ambitious, and probably still do very well. Because, like, Golf Story is one of the biggest indies on Switch. It sold over like 1 million copies. It has a physical version in Best Buy.
Like it.
But yeah, people really like it. I haven't played it. I don't think you guys have played it. No. It's one I definitely have always. I have it on my wish list.
Our friend likes it that played it.
What?
Our friend Angel likes it.
But yeah, it's one of those games that I have on my wish list, and every time it goes on sale, I'm like, oh, should I get it? And I never get it. But I do like how ambitious Sports Story is. Like it's unique. It's cool. So I'm curious about that one. But I think like the two that caught the three of our attention, that we sort of discussed before recording, SkateBIRD and SuperMash.
Yeah. So
SkateBIRD
has birds, so it caught my attention.
Also an excellent pun in its whole concept.
The skateboarding simulation part. I mean, who did
I just realized that.
Dude, you didn't realize that? Yes.
No, I didn't realize that.
Hawk's pro skater, SkateBIRD, and you'll notice the tagline they keep using is they're just trying their best because they're amateurs. So it's Tony Hawk's pro skater and SkateBIRD with amateur birds. Yeah, it's so great.
I liked
so great
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, but it was definitely more of a like, oh, this is a fun game to play at my friend's house because this is the game they have that I don't. But I never liked it enough to get it on my own.
Pro Skater 3 was my jam on the PS2.
So I don't know if I'm gonna get it even if it does have birds. And no, you can't say that, but there's cockatiels in there. But no, that's just a cockatiel skin. That is not. That's just a cockatiel skin.
They're all skins.
I think there's a hawk in the game named Anthony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Because Tony Hawk.
I just need to say it.
I did because you didn't realize the bird hawk thing before, so I want to make sure everyone's on the same page.
But I love the idea. I mean, the execution looks cool. I love how everything looks tiny, little sweaters and stuff.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, and I love the concept of it is like, basically the premise is this little bird is a pet of someone, and that person's stuck at their workplace all day. Like their job, they're constantly gone, and the bird's like, well, what do I do for fun? I have no one to play with. So he just like makes a skate park. And then not only that, but he like attracts other birds to join him at the skate park. And like part of the progress through the game is you try and get other birds to like join your like crew, I guess. And you skate around all these homemade parks.
Easy recommend for one of our friends in the group who loves birds and skateboarding and tech decks.
Yes, that's true. And I yes. And then
who doesn't remember tech decks?
I mean
our generation obviously does.
Yeah.
The kiddos these days, I don't think they're as poppin'.
We also poppin'.
No, like tech decks aren't as popping right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not criticizing the tech deck.
Man, they also have skateboards and scooters. I remember those were things.
Yeah, the scooter ones always confuse me because like, why do you need the handlebar?
Well, you put your finger, the handlebar.
You don't
so you can press down on it and do little kicky.
I know, but I guess it just seemed silly to me.
Well, it was at that point, but I mean. I don't know.
But
Razor became a brand for a reason.
Yeah, but SkateBIRD, ultimately, as you collect your bird friends and unlock new birds, including your not real cockatiel, and new outfits to wear, and secret music mixtapes to contribute to the, quote, lo-fi burb hop soundtrack, as you do all that, you're actually building towards saving your human friend's life and getting him out of the misery of his job. I don't know how, but there's actually like some sort of weird...
dark.
Yeah, there's some sort they're not like suicide, just
now I'm more intrigued.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about this one? This was a Kickstarter that then actually blew up.
It ends in like the bird is like competing in an actual pro ring, and it has like all the audiences on there, and it's like such an emotional roller coaster because it's like the first bird that even part against the rules and blah blah blah.
And like they're gonna bust an
airbud and just say it's not in the rules that a bird can't participate because why would it be there?
Right,
and they're gonna let him participate.
And it all perfectly ties into it's a bird just trying his best, and his best just happens to be the best. And then it ends happily. But yeah, it started as a Kickstarter, crazy enough. And it's gonna be on Switch in late 2020. It's on other platforms sooner, but I think Switch was a late edition.
I've been jonesing for a good like skateboarding game.
Like
a good arcade skateboarding game.
Because
there's like 2 out right now, like that were recently Kickstarted. I think Session is one of them.
Right.
And Skater XL, I think, is the other one.
Skater XL is coming to Switch as
well. But those are more, like skate, like the game skate focused. They're not as arcadey as like a pro skater.
Yeah, XL's interesting because XL you're using the 2 sticks to hold your balance, but then everything that happens in the game is procedurally generated. So there's no identical skate parks. There's different themes, but it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
So it's not at all the same as like Tony Hawk or SkateBIRD will be.
I need a pro skater.
Yeah.
Whether this is as deep as like Pro Skater is to be seen.
Yeah, time will tell. But I also just like that bird. Whimsical. Yeah, that's what I like, and also that birds are like having a moment where like 2019 was the year of the goose with Untitled Goose Game. 2020 seems to be the year of SkateBIRD. I don't know where we're gonna go after that, but doors wide open for anyone that wants 2021 to be like, maybe that's the year of the cockatiel finally for you, Angel. It can finally come true. All your dreams.
So SuperMash.
Yeah, that's the other one that we saw.
So do we know if like you'll get a different game if you pick the same combination twice?
So that's what's interesting.
That's the only part that I'm wondering.
Supposedly no. So for those who don't know what SuperMash is or how it works, the idea is you pick two genres or two of the same genre, you smash them together, and then they claim it will create a completely unique experience every single time. And they say that includes like obstacle changes, goal changes, intentional glitches, non-intentional glitch. That sounds like there's covering for bugs, but it sounds like it will.
There's already going to be tons of bugs in the game.
Yeah, and not only that, but there's going to be difficulties on top of that, and then they're doing something on top of that. There's 3 difficulties, and then there's something they're calling dev cards, where you can, if the game's too similar, you can throw in these custom elements that let you change the enemies, the players, the mechanics, the environments, and sort of do a second layer of supposed crazy random things on top of the first layer. So I don't know how effective that will be. Like, I don't know. There's 2 ways this can go.
Sounds ambitious.
It sounds very ambitious, and I think it could either be really awesome procedurally generated on-the-fly games, or like not just completely flat, boring, generic, repetitive things. And they say it's going to be different and completely unique, but does that mean the goalpost, literally they move the goalpost, or does that mean like it's going to be a totally different genre mashup every time? And I'm sure they'll have 2 or 3 genres per mashup already ready, but like I don't know. Like, they seem very set on this becoming a thing that could be like super like in depth, because it's right off the back of 6 genres: platformer, action adventure, shoot 'em up, Metroidvania, stealth, and JRPG. And they say they're going to have more genres coming as DLC. Likewise, they're going to have more dev cards coming as DLC, meaning they're going to keep adding new elements that can basically remix your already existing mashups. And you can save these mashups at any time, because they're doing something called mash codes, where every mashup has a unique code that you can give to anyone and it'll create that mashup for them. And I don't even know what that means. Does that mean it downloads the mashup you have? Is it recreating it procedurally, meaning their mashup's actually slightly different from your mashup, but it matches
I'm
the
guessing,
elements? I'm guessing it's one.
I'm guessing the code is just like, it just reads the whole thing and just creates a code just to create that exact same thing.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Why else would the guy say, like, this is my favorite combination?
Right, yeah, I'm assuming it's that, but you never know. But, yeah, it's interesting.
It's like I want to get it just on pure concept,
it's really
because it sounds interesting,
and,
but...
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess.
I'm worried about the depth of, like, some of these games.
That's why I'm kind of concerned about, like, if they're generic and repetitive, there won't be
they didn't say it, but, like, what if these are just, like, one really long level? Like, just, like...
Oh, I think it is.
Like, it's just like one, like, maybe 10-minute long level, and that's the whole game.
Well, like the JRPG ones, for sure, just gonna be one environment. Maybe you go into a cave or something, but it's not gonna be.
Yeah, they're not gonna create like a 40-hour epic with side quests and.
I do think
secret. I mean, if somehow it does, I mean.
To your point about is there depth, they are including a story mode where you do different mashes, and those mashes are assigned by customers of yours, and you're a game developer, and when you complete the mashes and win the levels or win the mash, you then unlock stuff and help like save your game shop or something. So what that implies to me is there's a story mode that has preset mashes that will offer some depth because they're actually programmed to be full-fledged mashes, and then the random procedural stuff that you share with friends with the codes or whatever, maybe that will be a little more shallow. That's the hope. Like, that's my realistic hope. And I'm only saying realistic hope because I still think it could totally backfire, but that's like the best case scenario that I think is plausible versus the dream where every single one is totally procedural, but every single one works perfectly. I don't think that's going to be reality, but I don't know. I thought it was a very cool concept, at least. And it's like,
definitely.
Yeah, it's on Epic Game Store right now if anyone wants to check it out, but it's on Switch, I think, in May as a console exclusive tentatively. So that's what I keep on your radar. There was one game, Angel, I'm actually surprised you did not want us to talk about, so I'm just going to throw it at you anyway. Murder by Numbers.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm surprised you're not into it because it's kind of up your alley. It's like Layton, it's like Phoenix, right? It's an interactive novel combined with puzzle gameplay.
The type of puzzles it's focusing on are not my type of jam.
That's the thing. It's Picross.
Yeah.
But
it's like everything else around it. Like, I mean, it even has the composer of Ace Attorney.
That's
games,
why it caught my eye, especially.
Like, everything around it sounds cool, but then it's like it's the type of puzzle game that it is. That it's just like, it's not for me.
Because like if you were into it, it sounds exactly like, minus the puzzle part, exactly like up your alley. Like it's a mystery. It's set in like 90s Hollywood. It's about like some, like I think it's some actress who gets involved in a murder and has to like figure out what happened. And then like they have the Phoenix Wright composer, like you said. He also did the Beautiful Joe music.
Yeah, I mean the music definitely sounds like something.
Yeah, and it has like you're doing investigations like Phoenix Wright. You have a little
but
robot that helps you.
I don't know if they
clues.
picked Picross or this style of game just to go with a really great title, but I mean that was like their undoing, at least for me.
Picross for a lot of people is very popular.
No, I know. No, I mean obviously it is. Yeah, I mean it's maybe its own whole series, but
yeah.
I mean maybe this one will get me to try Picross, but then again, there's so many like other games that I could play right now that I'd rather just like replay Aviary Attorney, which I have been playing actually right now.
You should wait a month for it to come to Switch.
No, because
January 30th, definitive edition.
I could see how it would be annoying to play this game with a controller.
But do you know what you get in the definitive edition that maybe balances that out?
Plushie?
No, you get fully rescanned, re-edited, and redrawn art of all the graphics. Their beaks, this is their quote, have never looked so sharp. You get medals as you go, like achievements that show. I have to read these quotes because they're great. They show you're the fanciest bird around. You get an art gallery so you can see the characters in natural habitat. You get a jukebox to listen to all the music, and you get, this is my favorite because this seems crucial to a game that's Phoenix Wright but with birds, and yet somehow they got by this long. A new dyslexic friendly font and further accessibility improvements. Was it that hard to read on Steam?
No.
I mean, I guess if you have dyslexia, it would be hard to read. I'm not trying to call anyone out.
Oh, yeah.
Had trouble. I'm just saying, like, as a developer, how do you come up with a font that's that hard to read? Even if it's 1800s.
Well, none of those.
That's still, like...
Yeah.
Because it is in the 19th century, I get that.
No,
but
I know.
even then, there's only so many curls you can put on a letter and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love the art in the game already, but none of that seems like a reason to wait.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, like, achievements, big whoop. I mean, maybe only having Nintendo consoles growing up kind of made me not really care about achievements.
Right.
Because I know there's definitely people that, you know, will sometimes only play a game if it has achievements.
Right.
But, yeah, I'll just stick to the Steam
version. Is cool that's kind of Switch. I remember you talked about it on the show years ago.
No,
and you're super into it. It's literally... It's 1800s Phoenix Wright, but everyone's birds, and it's all bird.
Well, no, just the main character.
Oh, I thought they were all birds.
No, they're all animals.
Oh, they're all... It's BoJack.
Yeah, it's BoJack.
But 1800s.
Yeah, because they still have normal hands. Well, at least when it's convenient to the plot. But
of course, because it's video game logic.
Yeah, like your first trial is you're defending a cat from the murder of the Frog Baron. So
the Frog Baron, nice. But yeah, so that's out January 30th for anyone who is curious, or it can be like Angel and just play it right now on Steam. Actually, whatever. Speaking of things we're playing,
I mean, if you don't already have it, I don't know, like. I can't picture playing this game without mouse and keyboard, or just
without
the mouse.
And handheld mode. Because like someone like me, or someone who owns a Switch Lite, that I mostly play handheld. Those people can only play handheld.
It'd be too small because I
adjust the font to be new dyslexic-free font with further accessibility improvements.
Like I mean, it isn't a tap-heavy game, but
sure.
Like I just like playing this game like blown up on a big screen just because like all the art looks really pretty.
Right.
But
right. That's fair.
But I mean, it'll definitely be doable with the touchscreen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, since you've been playing that, what else? I know the answer. You've also been playing... Let's talk about the one game that's actually playable right now on Switch. That this whole episode has only been one game that we can talk about that's currently playable right now on Switch, and it ties in with our Taking the Gold episode title, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. A beautiful mouthful of a name.
Yeah, so I actually had a nice chance to, between playing with Kevin and another good friend, we got to played it a lot. Really... Can't say too much for the story.
No, please go on. Why can't you? What's wrong with it? I'm really curious. I'm not even being facetious. I'm legitimately like, what's wrong with the story? Or what is the story?
I didn't... Well, the thing is I didn't really bother.
Oh, that's why you couldn't.
Well, because a friend of mine that had the game before me, like, first I asked him, like, so, like, what else does the story have besides just, like, the story? Or is it just, like, the game sandwiched in between? And, well, he made it sound like the story was pretty unbearable because you can't skip or speed through anything, even if you're done reading it. And there's, like...
Do you have to keep rewatching it if you fail a
I don't think so, but point is, like, it sounds like you don't even unlock anything because he says he passed it, which is the only reason I would want to play the story mode. But all I did see from the story, just to watch some animation, There wasn't any. There wasn't a lot of it. It was just a lot of the stills of the characters with just text under them, and just like an occasional sound effect to show that they're starting to talk. But I started chapter 1, and I'm like, all right, cool. I wonder what game we're gonna play right away. And then expedition, chapter 2, and I'm like, what? It's like literally nothing. Just went straight to chapter 2. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna
a Kojima game.
And straight up.
And then like. Just
that
like,
was nonsensical too.
And then just from like scanning like the menus, it didn't look like anything was hidden. Like maybe there are other hidden characters, but like at least it looked like all the events were available. Like nothing, there were no question marks. There was nothing that seemed to be like hidden behind anything. And so this way, I just decided just to focus my attention on just the games. And man, like they sure find ways to overcomplicate what could be simple stuff, but the overcomplicating sometimes, I mean, it kind of works in its favor because it makes it funnier,
right?
Or like makes it feel stupid, but you're like, oh god, I can't believe they're making me do this. Like for example, there's one where you have to throw the discus or just the frisbee. It's like a very heavy frisbee. Not sure what the proper name. Maybe it is discus, but you essentially have to push up with the analog stick, then do like a 3/4 rotation with the analog, with that same analog stick, and then during that time you have to wait and time your shoulder button press. So it feels weird.
That sounds weird.
And I couldn't really get it to work, but I mean, I don't know, it feels weird, but I'm also kind of glad they do that, because then if it's too basic and too easy, it would get boring really fast. So I don't know, kind of like when we were like doing I was playing the triple jump with Kevin.
Oh god.
Like it took us a long time. Well, it just takes a long time to figure out when to jump, because most of these games, especially that there's like the javelin one and like the long jump one or triple jump, like when you press a jump button, it doesn't jump immediately. You have like they always take like an extra step or two that you have to account for, and they don't tell you that anywhere. They actually don't tell you a lot of things up front. We have to figure out a lot of the inputs. Like we were playing like
the boxing one.
Yeah, we're playing the boxing one. And we were just like punching each other. Okay, you could grab. Oh no, they didn't tell you could grab.
Oh yeah, they don't tell you that you can grab. They don't tell you that you can counter the grab either. It was just
what's funny?
Or the sumo, or which one was it? The wrestling one.
Oh, it was me. Yeah, it was me. The boxing one that like they didn't tell us a bunch of the inputs.
You know what's funny? When we played at A3, remember you and I both demoed it. Remember how every station had an attendant constantly telling you what to do? For like some games, they're like, "Hey, here's a demo."
We needed that person.
Yeah, we needed. Yeah.
No, that's my point. It's like at the time, I was like, "Oh, it's because it's an incomplete game, so I just want to make sure you know what you're doing." Apparently, it's just how the game's designed, which is bad.
I mean, like the instructions try, but it's definitely one of those like we have to do a practice round first, maybe another one in case you couldn't even get it through the first time. Because like I don't. Did you ever get a proper triple jump?
I never got the triple jump. I was so embarrassed. I never got the triple jump. I was so mad.
I went home in shame.
Yeah, like they're fun though. Like as bad as like the game is at explaining how to play most of these, like they're really fun. Like especially the 8-bit ones, like you get a lot of mileage just out of the fact that they're 8-bit.
Right.
Like it's just funny just seeing like the sprites like twirl around, or like when you mess up. Like the first time we did the high dive, like I messed up the inputs almost immediately, and we just have to watch Bowser just like fall flat
upside down
for like the longest time, just because like during the whole time you're supposed to be doing inputs, but since I messed up, you're gonna give me another chance, so we're just falling for like 30 seconds maybe of just nothing, and then boop, and we're like, all right. Well,
I did like in the original trailer, and I think I made a gif of it in tweet or something, but it just Peach's sprite upside down, just straight down. It just looked like someone just took a rotation tool, spun it upside down, like
literally what they did,
which is basically
what they do. Yeah.
But I mean, it is nice that at least I could say that most of the games do have enough depth that like someone could legitimately get really, really good at them if they really wanted to. But I'm gonna try not to play them too often because I want to not
save it for the 2020 Olympics.
No, just like because like when I play it with like the big groups of people, like I don't want to be like a pro at all of them. Like every time I play it, I'm always gonna get it perfect.
Especially you who has a reputation of not properly explaining controls ahead of time.
Like when I played with Nigel the other day, like we went through every single minigame. Oh, and now we're gonna get through that online interface, Jesus. But yeah, so all the ones that were just like pure timing based, at least like the first like 5, like the 100-meter dash, like exactly when to press A, or the triple jump, especially because I had already practiced it with Kevin. I was able to get perfects throughout those whole runs. Like there was nothing he could have done to beat me.
Mm-hmm.
But then then the later half of the games, like the soccer, the rugby, the what else was it? The skateboarding and the surfing. Like he just destroyed me in all of those.
I enjoyed the skateboarding one at E3. I don't know if it translated well to the final game, but it was fun at E3.
The surfing one's really cool too.
The surfing one, it's basically the same mechanics.
I don't know how you're supposed to know which one is the big wave. It feels kind of random.
You just feel it. All right,
you're supposed to feel it. All right,
just feel the big wave.
But
you just know.
And it's like when I'm playing locally. When we were playing locally the other time, like it didn't feel like much of have to go between games. It was, you just kind of pick them and go, replay, go back to menu, switch characters, whatever. But when you play online, as far as we could tell, and we looked everywhere, there is no way to do a Grand Prix or a set equivalent.
A game?
So you pick, like, you go into the lobby where you could, like, exchange those messages, like preset messages.
Yeah.
And then you wait for everyone to press start, and then it takes you to that menu where you see every game that's available, like all 20-something. You see the 8-bit ones, but you can't click on them because they said they're not available in free play mode. So from what I can tell, there's no way to play those online with a friend as of now. And so you pick a game, say you pick the 100-meter dash, and then you're like, all right, cool. Let's just go back. Let's just pick the next game. But your only options are either replay that minigame again, go back to the main multiplayer menu, which is where you're sending messages to each other, not even like the level select, or to go back to the exit out and go to the main menu. So yeah, you either like exit out completely, you go back to the menu before you even get to pick the characters and the stages, or you just play again.
This sounds like early Nintendo Wi-Fi connection on DS.
So it gets really annoying, like just going between, like just going all the way back, picking our characters, picking the stage, going all the way back, picking the characters.
Right.
Like if they had at least gotten rid of that initial, like everybody press start and then go to the level select screen, it would have been more tolerable. But man, it made going through those 20-something games way longer than it needed to be. But I mean, yeah, probably half that time we just been complaining about that when we were playing it. But
so are the 20-something games, are they all also in 8-bit?
No.
Like, do you see an opportunity?
It's like only like 8 of them.
So do you see an opportunity, like,
and the ones that are in 8-bit, some of them aren't even like in 3D and vice versa. Like in 8-bit,
oh, interesting.
Like I kind of wish they hadn't come. Like in 8-bit mode, you have like a marathon. You get to run a marathon.
Yeah. And
the high drive, but you don't have either of those in the 3D ones.
Do you think
those would have been cool to see in 3D? Or just I could pick more characters. Why aren't there more 8-bit characters? There's sprites for all these characters somewhere, probably.
Not Waluigi.
Yeah, there is.
I guess for Mario Maker.
And Mario Party Advance.
Yeah. That's not 8-bit.
And Sonic Battle.
Yeah, but Sonic is an 8-bit, and they use the 16-bit.
I know, he's 16-bit.
Sprite.
Well, Game Boy's like somewhere between 16 and 32, I think, technically. But
well, there you go. I mean, either way.
Well, I was going to say, do you think there's like... Because here's the thing. The game came out now. The Olympics aren't until August. Do you think they might put them out as DLC? Like, they'll start doing... Because they can't make new sports, but they can convert the existing sports.
Maybe.
Like, is it like an intentional... kind of greedy move on their part where they're like, hey, we'll give you every sport in different capacities and then we'll switch them up and give you the other version of every sport
the game doesn't,
from now till August.
I mean, the game doesn't feel like it's lacking in minigames.
Right.
But more would be welcome. But it definitely feels like I'm going to like play this game with my brother-in-law and like the family on Monday. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with just what's there, with just what's available, I feel that'll be more than enough.
Right.
Like way more than enough. Like, between also we could probably play the 8-bit games as much as the other ones,
right.
Especially because like you have 100-meter 100-meter hurdle and the relay race, which they all kind of have the same kind of feel to them, but they're all different enough that they could stand on their own. But
do you do motion control or button control?
Which we did button only.
There was that one mini game, the archery one or whatever, where you're shooting targets. Bad mode. I did not like that mode.
Did you with motion?
Yeah, it was with motion.
Yeah.
So,
but with button, I mean, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, maybe, I can't quite read where you stood.
Maybe wait for a slightly cheaper price because it sounds like the single player isn't worth it. But I could at least say that the multiplayer is definitely a lot of fun, especially if you have like. You don't even have to have 4 people. If anything, because it's an Olympic type game. If you have like a nice big group of people that you could split into teams of 4, so you each have a team to root for.
Right.
Then that could also work. Just each go one at a time.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that actually sounds fun.
Yeah, create a mini Olympics of your own, but
and then just keep playing it till the real one happens.
Yeah. But it's fun. I liked it. It's nice seeing. It definitely you do get a sense that they really did try with this game, and you always get that nice calm like oh, look at Nintendo and Sega coming together. It's like you kind of wish this was Mario and Sonic and Master Chief and Kratos at the Olympic Games. That way you have like just like it's like a place of peace. And
I mean, I feel like
and then that game's available on all consoles.
Well, let's be fair. In reality, it would be Mario, Sonic, Blinks the Cat, and Crash.
Well, I'm talking like current ones.
Yeah, I know. Remember Blinks the Cat?
That'd be cool. That's like the one game that's like
unfortunately
it's like the game that's only exclusive first party. Well, not first. Yeah, I guess like the biggest mascot for each console, but it's available on all consoles that way.
Blinks would have been perfect because Luigi could have just death stared him for stealing his vacuum and making a different but similar game out of it.
He got a sequel, I think.
I know, he did. Or better yet, it could be Knack, and from the Sony side instead of Crash. Everyone loves Knack.
They tried.
Knack 2.
They made a sequel for that one, too.
What?
They made a sequel to Knack as well.
They did. I bet you Knack 3 is going to come out with PS5. Actually, I have no idea. But, yeah, with that, I guess we've covered what you guys have been currently playing. I don't have much to report on my end. But, we've also covered what others have said deserve to be played this year. But we still have our own picks of Game of the Year. What do we think deserve the highest accolades of 2019? And we divide them into categories, kind of. So, as you guys are multi-platform people who play multiple devices because you're true gamers, and as such, I think you guys are going to pick a game for Switch and a game in general, right?
Well, it's just more like...
Or if the game for Switch
yeah, it's more like we have a Game of the Year. If it happened to not be Nintendo, then we'll also pick a Nintendo Game of the Year just so we have a Nintendo one to say.
Right, and me as a Nintendo fanboy who only has Nintendo, I also want the option
if Nintendo really put out their big guns, then they would all be Nintendo. So
sure. And like I felt the need to have two games too, so I had my own category. I'm doing my top game for Switch and my top indie game specifically for Switch. But let's just go alphabetically. So we go Angel, I guess Angel, me, Kevin.
Ignore the clicky clacky.
GHI. Yeah, Angel, me, Kevin. I did really do the alphabet. So Angel.
So my
games of the year.
So my Nintendo Game of the Year, because Nintendo didn't make it to my full-on Game of the Year, was Ring Fit Adventure.
Interesting choice.
Because that game really took me by surprise, got me excited, and yeah, got me excited to work out and play a fitness game, which I never thought would happen.
Right.
And even now, like I'm in World 5, I'm already fighting through. Like I got to meet the leg master. I forgot what her name was. Legolas.
Yes, Orlando Bloom is your thigh master.
But the ab master is called Abdonis, or yeah, I think it's called Abdonis. But anyway, like I'm beating the Elite Four, and now I have to fight the one that brings balance to all of them to fight, Drago. But no, it's really fun.
Drago?
Yeah, that's the name of the big villain.
Oh, I'm thinking, what's his name?
Yeah,
Rocky 4.
No, it's not.
Ivan Drago.
Imagine if the ring
same pronunciation, way more complicated spelling.
Imagine if the ring in Ring Fit Adventure that talks to you was Sylvester Stallone's voice.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I did recently watch the Rocky movies this year, so...
Yeah.
I was going to try to do a Sylvester Stallone impression.
Please do.
Nope.
Please
keep going.
Okay. So your Nintendo Game of the Year is Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah.
And overall, I'm going to get...
Overall,
I'm not even
overall definitely Resident Evil 2.
There it is.
Yeah, that game did like the one thing that I've always wished or I've always wanted to see in a horror game, and that was just like something that's like always chasing you and you couldn't really hide from it. Like there obviously have to be some compromises. Like you can hide from like Mr. X in like in certain places.
Mr. X.
Like there's like some save rooms that he just won't enter, but overall like there's rarely a place in the mansion where you feel safe. Like even the hub area, like you're not safe in there. I don't know. It was great. It was the first Resident Evil game I played in a while too, because we kind of took a break after Part 6. I didn't play Part 7, but I would want to play Part 2 and obviously Part 3 coming up. But man, I love that game. I played through that campaign maybe 5 times.
Wow.
Well, because there's like 4. There's like you play Chris A, which means you have to play Claire.
Leone.
Leone. Yeah, it's weird because it's like you have to. They kind of don't go where the other one went. There's some items switch around and stuff like that, and then you see the other version of who went first, and then later you have to figure out which is the canon one. I think it's with Chris B, but I don't remember.
Claire B.
Yeah.
Game of the Year, and you don't even know the mode. Oh my god.
Well, I don't know which one. Well, I don't know which one is considered canon. Yeah. They both have like the same-ish ending, but yeah, like I don't know. It was fun. I do plan on like just trying to speedrun. I mean, I got into speedrunning that game. I remember like I read up on like different strategies, saw some videos, tried to find some stuff on my own, and really wanted to get that S rank, but then time got away from me. Really wanted that infinite rocket launcher, but maybe I'll get it later. But yeah, Resident Evil 2.
I do like how much
Capcom is on a roll.
Much like a well-written TV show where they hint at what's to come with some very subtle foreshadowing you don't realize till after it's already happened. Mr. Robot's great at that. I do like how last episode of this podcast, we talked a lot about Resident Evil 2 and a lot about Ring Fit Adventure. And little did anyone listening know, here we'd be, and those would be your games of the year. So there you go. I guess I'll go next because I'm next in the alphabet.
Keep in mind, this is Smash Brothers. If I wasn't even considering it, otherwise it would sweep everything.
Right, so, yeah. But it's technically last year. Even though the Game Awards considered it eligible this year, technically
it was my most played game this year for sure.
And it was also your game of the year last year. So
exactly.
Like
I think of the 500 plus hours Nintendo says I played on my Switch. I'm pretty sure like 300 of those were Smash Brothers.
Hold on, I'm adding another category: DLC character of the year.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. Who's it gotta be? I think I know his answer. I know my answer.
Hero for sure.
Whoa, not the answer I expected.
Because, I mean, yeah, Banjo is a great surprise that we all wanted in the game, but coming in to the Hero announcement, I was like, oh, I could care less about Hero. I didn't play Dragon Quest game. And then he comes out, and since I have the pass, like, I'm always going to play as him.
Yeah.
And he ended up being super fun to play as, to the point that he's, like, my favorite character to play right now besides Bowser.
Wow. I do enjoy his randomness.
I don't plan on going competitive with him because he's
the randomness
tough to do that
of his
with,
moves.
But he's just so fun to use that, like... Yeah, I just, like, love using him any chance I get, and I did not expect that from anyone. Where, like, Banjo, like, I'll use him, and he's like, alright, cool, it's Banjo, like, I love Banjo, but I can't see myself playing as him. Mm-hmm. It just didn't click with me. Terry didn't click with me. Joker didn't click with me, but somehow Hero... Everything I love about Smash Brothers is, like, in him. I just love how chaotic he could be.
I feel like I don't even need to ask you, Kevin, but your DLC character Smash of the year.
I didn't play any of them.
By default, it should be Joker, right?
By default, yeah, obviously.
For me, it's definitely Banjo. I remember I went on such a tear about how much I loved him and what they did with him in the episode about him, whenever that was, in August, I guess, or July. But they really captured the spirit of it. Like, his moveset, I mean, I know they do it with all games, but it's very rare that a game I haven't played in so long gets brought back in such a way, and it feels so nostalgic.
You could appreciate all those little nods.
Exactly.
I was getting reverse nostalgia because, like, since I played a lot of Hero, and then later I played Dragon Quest, like, I finally got my copy of Dragon Quest 11, or even during the demo, like, that was post playing as Hero in Smash Brothers, and I was like, oh, cool, the menu is just like how it is in Smash Brothers, or, oh, I finally unlocked Zoom, oh, cool, it does the same sound effect as it does in Smash Brothers, even though...
Right.
I mean, yeah, I think the same thing when, like, you know, I see Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time, and it's like, oh, it's that character from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, even though he predates it.
Or whenever you hear a song, you're like, oh, it's that song from Guitar Hero 2. And you don't even know the artist.
I get, like, the reverse nostalgia.
But I felt that with in the right direction with Banjo, and it was like, very few times do Smash Bros. Characters really, like, make me go, like, whoa, and, like, I was so impressed with the attention to detail they gave him. It was great. I mean, they do it with all of them, but it clicked with me. But in terms of my games of the year, so yeah, I'm a Nintendo-only person.
And your 3-minute start?
No, don't worry. It won't. You made me stammer. Now I lost time. No, but my game of the year. My game of the year is Tetris 99, which, like, it's been kind of an odd year for Nintendo in terms of their game rollouts.
You technically beat the game just by playing it once.
There's that, but no, it's been like so this year's been weird for Nintendo, I feel like, because, like, since summer we've had a great steady drumbeat of, like, these very traditional games, all of which are really well done. Like Link's Awakening, I think visually is my favorite game of the year, although Astral Chain with the cyberpunk aesthetic definitely is up there. You know, then Pokemon and Mario Maker 2 are both really well done new entries in their respective series. But at the same time this year, also, like, the first half of the year, and then again with Ring Fit, as you called out, Nintendo got weird this year. Like, they were kind of, like, abnormally experimental. I mean, it feels like ages ago, but it was only back in April that we got Labo VR and those funky VR modes in Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. And then, you know, Ring Fit most recently. And somewhere in the middle of the super weird Nintendo and the super traditional Nintendo was my game of the year, Tetris 99, where, like, gameplay wise, it's a very standard game. It is Tetris, but they did a cool thing, obviously, with the Battle Royale, where you're playing 98 real people. Your blocks are affecting different blocks. You get target different people. You get badges and awards that boost up the block damage you can do based on who you're attacking. And they can actually have, like, it's like a like a meta to it almost, where you have not just you're trying to clear your blocks, but you need to be conscious of where is the most susceptible to being damaged, so you can get a medal, so you can then do better against the other people as you get higher up the ranks. And that in of itself is really fun and really addicting. And then they did a great thing where they did a cool games of service approach, but it was free, where they have constant Maximus Cups. And all those Maximus Cups have cool rewards in the form of special skins that kind of remind me of Tetris DS, where they're references to other Nintendo games. In this case, they're all modern games because they're tie-ins to other releases, Luigi, Pokemon, what have you. But what I think is the experimental side of this I think is very interesting is the game started as a free multiplayer mode. And they have consistently, regularly, since February, built a game around a mode and slowly tried it out, and some of it was free and some of it wasn't, but just the approach they took to taking this very simple concept and then sort of layering stuff on and making it constantly feel fresh with different themes or different modes or different big block DLC packs or whatever, like I just thought was a really cool thing that kept it engaging for me. And it's actually, according to my Switch stats, my most played Switch game this year because of all those constant changes. I kept going back, even if it was like, half an hour here, 45 minutes there, whatever. I was still constantly playing Tetris 99, and it may not be the best game of the year, but for me it's the one that resonated with me the most and I found to be really fun. Even up to this past week they've been doing stuff. Like last week they rolled out a free team battle mode. So there's a whole new mode now, and this mode is interesting where like you pick one of 4 elements as your team, and then you collectively are fighting the other team. So you're contributing to a greater good, if you will. And if you die, you're not necessarily done because there's other people playing for your team. You could still end up being the winning team and get points that way. And there's a neat little thing where you can actually go like other players who are doing really well on your team, and you give them a little heart and they get an alert as they're playing and stuff, which is pretty cool. The downside of team battle mode is so the match ends and it says, hey, you're done. You can like other players, or if you want, you can start a rematch. So I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to do that. And I eventually realized if I start a rematch before the match is over, they don't count the match. You have to actually wait for the match to end and watch the other players for it to count towards it. So I lost all these points that I could have been getting. But that's neither here nor there. The broader point is they're constantly adding new stuff. It's a constantly evolving game in a way that Nintendo's never really done it before. And it's such a simple idea that is so well executed in my mind. And like they even like finally let you play with friends online properly. There's a password system for team battles. You could send your password to your friend. Why it's not friendless, I don't know. But like even little things like this, like I'm sure friendless integration is gonna come next. It's just constantly changing, and I didn't even have to buy DLC to enjoy it. I mean, I did, but I didn't have to. Like it's right. All the core stuff is free, and that's with Switch Online. $20 a year. But that's like to me just it's a really cool different way that they approached it. So that's why I like Tetris 99. That's my game of the year for that reason. If we're talking indie game of the year, because I don't have another system, another one I gush over, and I've gushed over on the show before, is Sayonara Wild Heart. I will admit, was kind of close. Like Goose Game's really good. I really like how Goose Game's like this little puzzle box thing. It's kind of like Mario 64. I think was the analogy I made back in September when we talked about it. Actually, I think we talked about these two games in the same episode, so it's kind of funny that I'm pairing them up again. But, yeah, I don't know. Sayonara Wild Heart was just, like, this all-encompassing experience for me. It helped that it was something I could actually beat in a short amount of time, because I'm not good at beating my games. So there was just getting the whole picture for once, which is a me thing, not a game thing. All these games, if I put in the time, could have done that, I'm sure. I would have been felt as rewarding. It would have felt as rewarding for me. But, like, with Sayonara, just the music, the visuals, the gameplay, it all just gelled really well and was a very unique experience. Like the art style is really cool. The music complements it so well. It's very pick up and play. It felt like it was definitely a good game that I could just sit there with my Switch, like curled up on the couch and just play, which you can do with a lot of games, but this one just, I don't know, there's something about it that the developers really just nailed. The concept, the execution, the fact that it had like, even though it seems like this kind of like poppy fun thing, actually had like a pretty emotional core, and you learn over the course of the music and everything exactly what the game's about, and it kind of has like this uplifting ending and anything. It was just a very well done, very indie experience that I have deeper impressions, or I make comparisons to how it's like a concept album but playable back in our September episode. I'm not gonna rehash it here, but essentially like it was a very unique idea, I thought, and I thought they nailed it. So those are my two picks. Kevin, what about you?
Nintendo Game of the Year, hands down, it's going to Pokemon Shield.
Okay.
Because man, that game hit just right. It came at the right time. Like, man, years after I played a Pokemon game, I forgot how much, like, I love these things. Especially since the last one that I...
It's heartwarming. And admit it, Hop did it for you. Hop was the reason he...
Oh my God, Hop.
It had to be Hop.
Ghost.
He grew on you, right?
No. God, Hop still sucks.
No redemption arc?
No. God, Hop still sucks.
There is, I forgot where I saw it, a whole online conversation about the awfulness of Hop. Like, I'm talking like
he's
10...
terrible.
It might have been on Reset Era. It was like a never-ending thread.
Yeah, he sucks.
He's the worst.
What doesn't suck? Pokemon Shield. Man, just it's like an addiction. Just like I'm just gonna be in the wild area. I'm gonna collect everything that I can. I'm gonna level up everything that I can. Just gonna fill up this Pokédex. That's a whole different issue that a lot of people had. Not for me personally. It's just the art style is great. The music's great. It's just to me this is a complete package of a game.
But it's missing 400 Pokemon.
not to me.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, that game just is like a whole different level for me. Especially considering like the last game that I played was still 3D. Was Diamond and Pearl
DS?
Yeah, but were they still 2D sprites like in 3D? Yeah. Like it was
especially
like going from an iPhone 3G to
iPhone 10, 11.
to a 10. You know.
So I'm never gonna forget that when Pokemon Black came out. I remember one of the art directors was saying that Pokemon, the mainline games, will never not be sprites because sprites is like the best way that they can get the personalities out of the Pokemon.
Until Nintendo went, we're not making handhelds anymore, and they're like, crap.
Well, next was X and Y, but
that too. Yeah.
So they're like, yep, let's see how long that lasts.
Yeah.
So
that's Nintendo.
Shield. Yeah.
Overall,
Sekiro, which is weird because
you forgot it even came out this year at one point.
Yeah, I totally forgot that game came out this year, but like in retrospect, yeah, Sekiro is probably my game of the year. I love those From Software like Soulsborne games, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, and so I was really excited when they announced this game. But it just pretty much turns that genre on its head because before.
Did the game have a subtitle?
Oh yeah, Shadows Die Twice.
Shadows
Die Twice.
Oh, Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah.
Oh, as opposed to one.
This is a really not subtle way of being like, I have to write this down for our timestamps, but so I'll act like I'm asking you the subtitle because I'm curious.
I mean, it was kind of both. I
wasn't
sure.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, those Soulsborne games I love. Bloodborne's probably my game of the decade. Probably my favorite game of all time.
I mean, if we want to open the can of worms for game of the decade, I have an answer. I have an answer.
But it's like there's that running joke of like get good in those old games.
That quote. Freaking Sekiro spawned that.
No, Sekiro didn't spawn that. It was Demon Souls and Dark Souls, but like in those games you could just grind and get like a higher, like more health, more stamina. In this game you have none of that. It's literally just your skill.
Oh, interesting.
And those were the hardest 45 hours of my life. I was on a Discord server with somebody on a voice channel, and the guttural noise that came out of my mouth when I beat the final boss scared the crap out of the guy that I was on the server with. Like that's how intense I was when I beat that final boss. And oh man, that
was right. It just spawned the quote.
Get good?
I thought predates.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Hollow Victory quote.
Oh yeah, that guy's.
Oh
yeah, when that whole
I thought
discussion
about the phrase "get good." Yeah, you're talking about the you did.
Oh, you gained nothing.
Yeah.
That was one of the best.
Yeah, you cheated yourself. Oh, here, where is it?
You know, if we were,
here it is. You cheated not only the game but yourself. You didn't grow. You didn't improve. You took a shortcut and gained nothing. You experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked and nothing was gained. It's sad that you don't know the difference.
As somebody who loves this game, that guy sucks.
Also,
that guy's terrible. But that's a whole
throwing
different
this in
discussion.
there for like gaming meme of the year. I would say that is definitely a contender, but the winner is for sure all the goose everything. The Untitled Goose of just inserting him in random stuff, in my opinion, was like the best meme.
Wait,
but anyway,
what was the gaming tweet of the year according to the Game Awards?
Oh, it was I regret nothing with the Mario Maker stage.
Oh, okay.
Which is the best one of
for some reason I somehow missed that
because it was in a commercial.
No, yeah, like that's why I missed it, and then like when I came back, I saw someone posted that, but they didn't obviously put a different tweet on there, and it was just Danny DeVito just saying gaming.
Oh, that reminds me, by the way, Twitter had a crazy setup in the lobby of the Microsoft Theater where it's like the gaming tweet of the year, and it was on a pedestal, and it was a glowing cube that was floating and spinning in midair, and each side of it was a different tweet.
That's what they showed it on our...
Oh, it was on the feed?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought I remember.
You didn't see it?
Because I remember...
You sure you didn't see my picture of it that I tweeted?
Well, when I saw the faked Danny DeVito tweet, it was on that.
Oh, okay. Because, yeah, that thing, like...
It was on that.
It was fun because I was taking a picture of it, and the Twitter rep's like, hey, you know something cool? I'm like, what? He's like, well, 1, here's an at Twitter gaming sticker, but 2, magnets. I'm like, what? He's like, look, it's floating. I'm like, oh, you're right. Okay, cool. And then I walked away. Because they lit the thing where you couldn't actually see it was floating because it was dark under the floating part.
I'm seeing
the shadows there.
Yeah, but it was super slick once you realize what was going on. But the future. Anyway, so I feel like we interrupted you.
No, that's all I had to say.
Are we doing games of the decade real quick?
No.
I know mine. Yours already Bloodborne?
Bloodborne, yeah.
Mine's I'm just good. Pokemon Go. It's the one that I found it to be such an interesting, different, rewarding experience. It got me playing games with people in ways that I didn't before. It reminded me today, I got a push notification telling me I can now take pictures of Bidoof with my friends, which is a real notification I received, and I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You're not going to name one, huh? Because there's too many.
No, there's an obvious one, but I'm not going to... We didn't sign up for this, so I have to...
Well, listen, it's called improv. It's yes and, not no but.
No and a big but.
Oh, okay.
No,
and you cannot lie?
That was
no.
Dumb. No, it would... if I had to pick a game of the decade, it would easily be Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. Because they all kind of built up to that game. Because I always felt Rhythm Heaven Fever should have been on the 3DS, and then they kind of corrected that. But that game... It's funny, like, it's not multiplayer heavy. It's not complex in any way. It's as simple as a game could possibly get. But it was just, like, the most, like, cathartic experience. Is that, am I using that word right?
Yep.
But, yeah, like, I just, like, from beginning to end, there was, like, no crazy objectives. I just loved every bit of it. I think I played that game with, like, a smile the whole time. And it's the game I probably replayed the most amount of times, either just to enjoy the game again, because I just liked it that much. Mm-hmm. Or to play it with my eyes closed, or to play it with, like, some kind of, like, modification that I would just do. But I even did, like, the stupid goat, like, pachinko game that's in there, just because, like, I just hated that you have to do that to get the golden goat medal. But essentially, there's, like, a metal ball.
You literally are spewing gibberish right now.
So there's inside Rhythm Heaven, there's, like, this pachinko machine that has a goat all the way in the bottom, where you have to toss the ball up, well, the ball is like a beat. And then as it falls through the pachinko machine, if it lands on the goat will eat it, and the goat will level up and give you a medal.
Question, is it a beat because it's a rhythm game?
But you have to spend coins to play this pachinko machine, and to get those coins, you have to do good in these specific levels.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you definitely don't mess up that toss on the pachinko machine, which is already random, and sometimes the goat moves mid-toss, and yeah, if you, I think, get like... It was either 100 or 999, some ridiculous number, because I did it over the airplane. And you get like the golden goat in your little album of medals, and
you got it.
Yeah, and I got it.
I love how you're like, I'm not talking about Game of the Decade. I'm not prepared for this, and then you're like, let me open my 12-page speech real quick.
Well, because that's like the easy one, like
yeah.
Like,
well, that's how I was a Pokemon
I just love that I could always pick it up, and like in no situation has it ever like gotten me. Like Smash Brothers, like yeah, it's fun, I love it, but I'm sometimes not in the mood for it, and I feel like I'm always down to play Rhythm Heaven.
Fair. Well, there you go, everyone. Our games of the year, our games of the decade, but we're not done yet because we have to announce our 3 day and night contest winners. Yes, all of you, Kid Cudi is coming to your home to perform one song that he never plays live anymore. And that's
is that real?
I haven't heard him play it or heard about him play it live in a long time. But no, he's not going to their homes.
Would you know?
I've seen him live enough times I have not heard it at that I've been like, I don't think he plays it anymore.
When was the last time you heard him live?
Really?
Yeah.
4 weeks ago. Maybe 5.
Never mind then. I thought you were going to say something like a couple years ago. Like, how would you know?
He played Complex Con in early November when I went. So 5-6 weeks ago maybe.
Well, maybe he has bigger hits.
Well, that one was he was purposely doing like lesser known stuff from his early work because it was celebrating the anniversary of his album. Point is, day and night.
I thought it was like Radiohead. Like they got so sick of playing Creep that they just put it out
Radiohead.
Rotation.
Wait, I was thinking Walkie Talkie.
That's how John Mayer is with Bye Is a Wonderland as well. I've learned from my coworker who's a huge John Mayer fan.
Wait, who does Walkie Talkie Man?
Oh,
just some random band.
It's called like
that,
the Jerks.
That had that song, and
I have it on my phone. I'll tell you. It's
oh god.
I mean, I have it in my Apple Music library from back when I was younger. Walkie.
Huh, I'm surprised Kid Cudi doesn't play Day and Night anymore.
Stereogram.
Oh, Stereogram.
Oh, don't act like you knew Stereogram.
Well, I only knew it because I liked that song, and it was because of. Why did I like it?
Because walking in, talking in.
Because of Alleviate Agents. There you go.
See, it all ties back to video games. Point being, our Day and Night contest winners, not the song, the game. So we asked you guys what's your favorite puzzle game, and I picked 3 people. Here's the answers. And all 3 of you are winning a copy of the game expected in your email in the coming days. First up, we have Robert W., who said that Picross is his favorite puzzle game because he loves the combination of solving the puzzles logically and building the final picture. And if he had to pick a specific game, it would be Picross 3D on the DS, which was a fantastic 3D twist on the formula along with satisfying controls and sound effects. I do find it funny that Picross was 3D on the DS but went back to 2D on the 3DS. He didn't say that. That's my anecdote. So yeah, you get copy number 1, Robert. Congrats. Copy number 2 goes to Game Night, who said, I like Zelda, if that counts, and I applaud the originality. It's like what we were saying last episode about it doesn't have to be what you think it is. Also, real quick, back to Robert, check out Murder by Numbers. That's Picross, but also Ace Attorney. Angel's not going to buy it, so maybe you will. And winner number 3 is Foul Cox with 2 X's, and he said Puzzle Bobble. Wow, I tripped on that. Puzzle Bobble, which, is one I never think about when I think about puzzle games, but it's like a classic.
Yeah.
It's like Bust a Move, but not.
I like Bust a Move.
Yeah. I just never think of it when I think of puzzle games. So anyway, congrats to all 3 of you. Emails are coming in the coming days that'll have your codes. We're going to have one last giveaway for the year on our Twitter. If you follow @RoundNintendo, we will soon be tweeting a very simple retweet this to win, follow and retweet to win $30 eShop gift card giveaway, so keep an eye out for that. It also helps to just follow us so you don't miss any future episodes, because we're going to be back on January 5th with our first show of 2020, and we'll probably have a look ahead at what's in store for Nintendo in the year and what we've been playing, maybe Bee Simulator, maybe Earth Night. So yeah, you can stay tuned for all that, and to make sure you don't miss it, besides Twitter,
we'll finally have more full impressions of Dragon Quest.
Oh, right, because you picked that up too. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a doozy of an episode, but yeah, to make sure you don't miss it, you can follow us on Twitter where the contest is, but also subscribe to us on every podcast app known to man: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify. We're on YouTube, RamNintendo.com. We're on Pandora. We are everywhere. Everywhere.
We are in your bedroom.
We are in your bedroom right
under
now.
your bed.
Right now. And on that note, you can also follow us individually on Twitter. I'm JSR7. Angel's Wero, WEIRO_O. Kevin is KVN Gomez. We're tweeting from under your bed right now. And before we give you your final word, the last final word of the year and decade, it occurred to me earlier in the show, this shows how bad I am about playing my games. I was like, I own Pokemon Shield. I do not. I own Pokemon Sword.
You're the worst. What?
And I don't know how I got that mixed up.
You of all people to get your own game mixed up?
I don't know how I did that.
You make me sick.
Kevin, final word of the decade as we
just nice little wholesome. Happy holidays, everybody. Have a safe Christmas. What do you guys do?
Hanukkah, which is going on right now.
Have a safe Hanukkah.
Thanks,
have a safe New Year's.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
So much for giving him the last word. You said the
All
last
right,
word.
give another last word.
Oh man, drink. No, that's terrible.